background surprise party going on. This is my
Acha,
loyalty
nice.
to the 80 subscribers, I think, who are in QI with QID.
81. 81.
81.
Okay. But
81.
we have 425 on Spotify, so we have higher numbers there. Okay.
That's nice.
Yes.
Just to yes. I mean these are the
These are,
follow like आज तक उतने numbers नहीं है जब लोग सुनते हैं podcast पे, but यहाँ पे 81 से आते बहुत ज्यादा हैं फिर listens या streams जो भी.
Hmm.
Hi Chris
We,
Patrick, I
we are
apologize
very
if my
sorry.
audio I apologize if my audio is messy because my mic suddenly decided to die. I hope it's not that bad.
how
Earlier
late are
Varun
we?
told me it was bad. 5
We're
minutes.
6 minutes late. 6 minutes late.
Huh.
इतना भी late नहीं
Oh,
है
okay.
sir.
हाँ.
Oh, okay.
हाँ
As opposed to the
हाँ.
myriad of people who get late and will become fashionably late in podcast. But jo bhi ho, chalo. Not
Yes,
throwing
yes.
shade at people.
The
Yes.
lapatas. Yes,
Yes, the
yes.
lapatas. Yes.
Yeah,
Not throwing shade at any.
unfortunately, those posters are going to be going soon since both of them have found their pata back home. I suppose they are both coming to discuss Imtiaz Ali of all people on Wednesday. So
I am out of that, by the way. Just putting it out there. I am out of that.
सफर ने रास्ता दिखा दिया or whatever you want to
हाँ,
say.
हाँ.
वो भी सफर पे हो
Anyways,
गए.
वो
I
सफर हो
suppose.
रहा है, सब सफर कर रहे हैं. Except me, I knew very well this is a bad trip.
10 minutes late we aren't, Sanika. We are not that late.
She's fashionably early. She has
Like,
been waiting for 9:26.
Acha, chalo, okay. Anyways, we have surprisingly a lot to get through today, considering this is a Q&A episode and like it's the filler
Yes.
episode. Amartya, you have crowd.
I know I have crowd. I can't help it at this point. Crowd होगा ही, कुछ नहीं कर सकते.
For the question that was inevitable, does Amartya have friends? Yes.
That was the inevitable question. How is that an inevitable question?
I think Chris Patrick has. I think Chris Patrick has done more than their own suffering through
Yeah, Andy
Imtiaz
isn't
Ali.
even getting paid.
Unfortunately.
Andy isn't even getting paid.
I mean, we are also not getting paid.
हाँ,
But
who's paying
okay.
us?
वैसे बोल रहे हो
I
जैसे हमें
do-
पैसे मिल रहे
Yeah. No, they aren't. They aren't. They are my
Family,
mom's friends. Today is my mom's birthday.
हैं. They are extras. Nice.
Oh, speaking of birthdays, Dhruv, shall we?
हाँ.
ये
हाँ गाओ आप गाओ.
तुम जियो हजारों साल. Not really, sir. You are already very old. Amartya, yesterday. Happy birthday, Amartya.
Yes,
Thank you.
belated happy birthday to Amartya. He turned 31 yesterday, which it's not something which I would automatically reveal, huh? But like Varun made a point to reveal this in the story post he shared. So like,
Yes.
मतलब आपको
I am
तो
like, कुछ भी हो रहा है. Yeah.
Sir, I am still short of a quarter of a century, so I'm.
तो I will make 8 jokes.
आप लोगों का हाँ, आप लोगों का टाइम आ गया है.
मैं 27 साल का हूँ सर, क्या बोल रहे हो?
अच्छा 28 के हुए नहीं हो अभी.
नहीं अभी हो जाऊंगा बट जुलाई में.
I think
एक
Sanya
second.
is suffering a conniption at realizing that what my age is at this point.
Yes, and happy birthday to Amartya's mom also
birthday,
because
ma'am.
it's her birthday today. Yes.
Yeah.
She got the best birthday gift from Amartya like years ago.
It's so
Thank
rude.
you. It's not as if my mom doesn't say the same thing every day. But chalo. Yeah.
Okay, everyone's wishing you happy
Because
birthday,
he
Amartya.
was probably born and he was like, क्या घटिया movie थी हम. रजनीकांत गोविंदा, किमी कटकर and Amitabh Bachchan.
Hey, I
Oh,
like that
God.
movie. What the fuck? But anyway.
Yeah, I think everyone's in shock that you're 31, which is a good thing, Amartya. They don't think you're 31, so I
I
think
mean,
it's-
you look like
at this
you were
point,
approaching
I will
puberty.
take every positivity I get.
हाँ, I mean,
positive
वरुण तो
चीज़ है।
आपका वैसे भी आपको उड़ा ही देता है जिस हिसाब से वो आपकी बारे में बात करता है कि आप कितने साल के हो, which is okay. And
1 minute. No, not that. Say happy birthday to everybody.
Why should I?
It's your birthday.
Happy birthday, man.
Happy
It's
birthday.
they are wishing happy birthday. They are wishing you happy birthday.
Thank
Happy
you,
birthday.
everyone. Thank you.
Please have a good day. We are sorry to borrow
We are
Amartya
very
for
sorry.
1 hour. Yeah.
Yeah, she's going to kill
But
me, but okay.
okay. No, but Chris Patrick has, yes, but I've been informed about a lot of things as to what Chris. My God, gonna
Hmm.
let the sound settle.
Yeah,
Take it
hold
easy.
on.
No problem. No problem. No problem. But no, what Chris Patrick is saying, yeah, he's doing a lot of Twitter threads essentially as that recount
Imtiaz's
a lot
speech.
of the Imtiaz Ali experience he's had, and it's quite nice to read. I actually am very curious whenever we do discuss, and we will be talking about Imtiaz Ali extensively this whole coming week. Very was in his yes, that yeah, basically. But no, I think it's interesting to see because he hasn't seen a lot of the Imtiaz films that we all have sort of seen now, and now Varun is also been catching up. Even Aryan is catching up. So it's fun for me to see how many of you are coming down to on a similar page to me in some
I think
senses for some of these films.
that's also because uh, you guys were at least already in your teens and stuff, right? When Imtiaz hit his peak, like Tamasha and Rockstar and Love Ajkal and stuff.
नहीं सर हम
Yeah.
थोड़े
Original
बुढ़े
Love
होने
Ajkal.
आ गए थे बट हाँ यस हाँ
No, teens.
We
The
were
thing
in college
that is,
phase more or less. Yes.
that is when you sort of start to get at least some of his cinema. I don't think before that, unless it's the fluffy, frothy, jab we met type stuff,
as
you're
in
not
the good ones.
really,
Hmm.
I mean, yeah, but
Yes,
you're not really understanding what Rockstar is about, and ultimately, like now I
दर्द
can
है सर दर्द.
appreciate some elements of it, but I think it's largely a
Believe
very
me,
uneven film.
believe me, I think people took a little too much from Rockstar at this
Oh yeah,
point.
definitely. I was like, this movie
They
you were
have
raving
taken a
about
bit too
10 years
much.
ago.
But jo
I
bhi
think
hai.
I think Ranbir Kapoor definitely did, considering where he's gone
He's
with that whole
actually a fair
track.
bit kacha, in the film.
Really,
I thought he
in
was because
Rockstar,
I'll tell you where. As a physical actor and as an emotive actor, he's very good.
सर
But
2017 के बाद वालों को क्यों सीरियसली लेते हो मुझे ये नहीं समझ
तो
आता.
मुझे तो वो भी समझ में नहीं आता है.
2017 में क्या हुआ था इतना बड़ा? मैं तो 2016 से लिख रहा हूँ 15 से लिख रहा हूँ फिल्मों के बारे में. Anyway, so with
Yeah.
Rockstar, I felt like his voice modulation, like you look at how Jaideep Ahlawat is speaking in the scene and how he speaks. They have grown
Okay.
up in the same atmosphere. So that sort of stuff he's yet to pick up on, and he hits his peak with
Sure.
that in something like
ए
Tamasha.
दिल है मुश्किल. Okay, sorry.
ए दिल है मुश्किल में कहाँ है modulation?
बहुत है सर. आप देखो तो पिक्चर दिल से देखो. Anyways, we've had a whole
दिल
big
से देखो.
argument on our private chat again on
I-
Karan Johar.
I-
Surprise.
I hate to stop this very entertaining conversation to consider the fact that I have an hour and it's already 10 minutes in. Can
Yes.
we move on, please?
Absolutely.
Again,
I mean,
let me remind you people. My mom is going to kill me as soon as I get out of this room. So
She's going to kill
please.
you one of these days either way, Amartya. So
No.
Aaj nahi
This
to kal.
this is immediate. There is an immediacy here. There is an immediacy here.
what are you saying, Sanket? You're meaning this as a joke. You are not putting the flame here, okay? Considering हमारी वैसे भी chat में आज पूरे दिन इस बारे में बात हुई है. Anyways, let's leave ADHM out of this.
Please do.
But
Let us do.
yes. A film है मुश्किल, yes. So we should move on. We should move on to firstly your questions. Then we will move we'll stagger this through. So basically we'll talk about some questions. Then we'll talk about Amartya's favorite or like the one film he wants to talk about from March. Because he doesn't want to talk about the films that Varun and we want to talk about, and he has to leave. We will be discussing his favorite. Oh wow! Look who has joined. Oh my God! This is going to be a shock.
Oh my God!
Holy!
Not so लापता भगवान बाबा.
मैं
आप
सिर्फ
कहाँ से आ
वरुण के लिए
गए?
आया हूँ.
अच्छा,
Arey,
you
arey,
should
this
come
is
come
good.
only
Arey,
for
this
Bharat.
is good. Arey, this is good. I won't feel, how do I put this? I won't feel so guilty about leaving right now. There will be a
That's
trio
okay.
here at least.
नहीं, मैं तो
Obviously,
Yeah,
कैमियो
no,
देके
no.
निकल रहा हूँ.
हाँ, ये कैमियो देके निकल रहा है बेसिकली.
तो
ओनली
मैं क्या,
फैंस
तो
इसका
मेरा
ये
क्या,
चैनल ये
हाँ, तो
बन
मेरा
रहा
क्या
है.
इमरान हाशमी टाइप रोल है वो, क्या पता मेरे को तो सिनेरियो
Oh God, no, please.
I-
Sorry,
इनफैक्ट
we are
बढ़िया
getting
controversy
chaotic
हुआ है.
because we've seen Sanjeet after ages
Sanjeet
also.
after,
So,
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. No, you listen to Sanket's request essentially, right?
Yes,
Don't worry, I'm
exactly.
there. I know, Chris. We will. I mean, yes. Even Sanjeet is an admirer. So yes, ADHM.
अरे जिस अलीजे का पीएचडी जिसके पास है उसका बेसिकली
डॉक्टर ध्रुव makes
डॉक्टर
Yes.
yes.
Anyways, we will be talking. We will be addressing your questions first. Some of which are great. Some of which are not so great. But the ones which are not so great, I did automatically.
Not
क्या
quite
अजीब
specific.
रैंकिंग है, क्या अजीब
No,
ranking.
so no, the not great ones are directly. Actually, I messaged everyone who did send a question saying that thank you for your question, but किसी किसी को मैंने directly address कर दिया कि मैं ये आपकी request पूरी कर दूंगा. But जो भी
Sanket, that's
भेजा
for
था.
you.
हाँ
Yes.
हाँ संकेत, but I will mention your question, don't worry. Anyways, पहला question is from Rajvi.Singh, which is what are your genuine thoughts on anime? Varun, you are eliminated from this question already because you have not seen any anime.
Never watched anime.
You've never watched anime.
Unless
क्या elitism है, क्या elitism है,
Proper elitism.
Paso is an anime.
What?
which one?
So about a school in which kids learn music. It used to
Oh
come
yes,
Sure.
that is anime, that is anime, yes.
बहुत पहले
The
था.
main lead
ठीक है,
is the
पाठशाला
lead
को
is the
plot बोला
woman who
तूने?
plays the main lead is the woman who plays the violin, right?
हाँ,
That's
I
the
think
anime.
so.
Yes, that's the anime. Yeah.
मेरी
See,
बहन
So
I
I'll
have
just-
seen that also. You have seen it in Animax, if I'm not wrong. That came out in Animax
हाँ.
way back when. अभी देखा.
I am just going to put this as like a title header of what we are discussing for each of the things which we are. So Sanjeet is very impressed by my
Sanjeet is
moderating
impressed.
skills.
Like, yes.
I'm
Yeah,
super impressed.
I know. अब आप duties लो मुझसे ये सारी.
क्या ये
I
anime
love
लिखने की?
I love your background. अभी तक picture
Also,
नहीं देखी, but फिर भी I
also,
love your
Sanjeet,
background.
Why,
नहीं, नहीं,
why
ये
are you
तो-
wearing a Hawaiian t-shirt?
मेरे पास यही कपड़े बाकी है, मैं क्या करूँ?
Anyways, anyway, Amartya, you will begin with you because I think you are the one who's seen most. I am aware of many of the sort of big ones which I've seen, like the Hayao Miyazaki one. Then I know of the broad stuff. Like you are probably one who's watched much more extensively a lot of the anime stuff. So just give us a brief thingy on whatever you think of anime, I suppose.
Hold on.
आप कंडक्टर फेस कर लो अपना पूरा. हाँ.
Yes. Huh.
Yeah.
So anime. First of all, Blue Eye Samurai is technically it's an
Not an
American produced
anime,
anime, but it is not an anime. Okay,
Achha, it's
so
not an anime. Okay.
let's put that out there right now.
Okay.
Anime,
wait, Amartya, Jungle Book is anime, right?
the Indian one, Jungle
The
बात से ये
Japanese
पता
dub-
चला है. हाँ,
That's
that is
anime.
anime. That's anime. That was in
What
Indian
is anime?
It's
That's
Japanese
actually-
animation, basically.
Wait,
It's Japanimation. Okay.
Yeah.
But the thing about anime is they are adapting from a comic book medium which is called manga. So Japanese manga, which is read from right to left, not left to right. Okay. And
Okay.
mostly they are in black and white.
Urdu,
Yeah.
वही concept.
Right to left. Yeah. So the thing about it is कि anime, the best thing about anime is most of the time these people adapt the mangas quite faithfully. Okay. And also the basic thing is Japanese regard animation as a medium. They don't restrict animation to just one specific demographic. Instead, they categorize the anime according to the age group. So there is a very adult sort of anime, there is
Yes.
mature anime, and there is kids anime.
Right.
They are all there equivalently. Okay.
मतलब उनको respect ज़्यादा है medium के लिए.
Respect ज़्यादा है medium का because they are treating it as a medium. They are not treating it as something to just throw away like
Sure.
most people.
Like
everywhere.
Cash by Anubhav Sinha.
Yes, basically, yeah. Where did that come from?
Referencing
Of all
because उसमें भी
comparison, ये
उसमें
कहाँ
भी
से आ गया?
एनिमेशन है ना.
एनिमेशन है वो, एनिमे नहीं है.
हाँ तो
एनिमेशन है
बट
वो, एनीमे नहीं है.
माय पॉइंट इज कि रिगार्ड नहीं है मीडियम के लिए लाइक
हाँ
दैट
हाँ
वे.
हाँ.
हाँ एनीवेज
फिर भी बहुत रैंडम, फिर भी बहुत रैंडम चॉइस.
सर
बट
वो दिमाग में कैशेस ऑन माय माइंड आई सपोज ऑल द
बी लकी ही डिडंट से हम तुम. ओके.
या, ओ
एनीवेज
गॉड, ओ
I do
गॉड.
like Hum Tum by the way as a movie I
So
do like it anyways.
no, so most anime have very long seasons. Okay, so most
Hmm.
anime have very long seasons. They run for an entire season overall. So like 22 to 24 episodes anime are very normal.
Hmm.
But all these anime usually have a runtime of say 22 to 24 minutes. Okay, Jesus
Nobita
Christ.
fans.
Jesus
Nobita is
Christ,
what?
Sanjeev. Doraemon of all
डोरेमोन.
things.
वो
तो
बंदा
I
अपने
like
देखना तो
अपने
मैं
रील
क्या
Doraemon.
से क्या
करूं?
क्या निकालता है.
That was anime.
He's a
That
cat,
is
right?
anime. Yeah, he's a cat.
Is he a cat?
He is a quote unquote alien being who looks like a cat. Doesn't matter.
Acha, okay.
Anyway.
He is quite a cute
Cat
design
जैसा होता
anyways.
है.
Huh.
Huh. So the thing about the question was, what do I think about anime? Or what do us all of us think about anime? I think like I am no expert. Okay, I am not the person who regularly follows
हमारे
anime
relatively you are the expert here considering
because
who आपकी और
frankly there
के
is,
साथ
yeah,
जुड़े हैं.
frankly there is too much. Frankly, there is a lot of
Yeah.
anime to cover. Okay, but
let's not delve too much into the series stuff then. Like let's focus more on the movies part of it, I
yeah,
suppose, because that's
I
easier
think
to
anime
yeah.
most. I think anime as a medium is actually quite impressive and quite, how do I put this?
Hi
Very knowledgeable
Gulsimran
and very promising overall. Because
says very sadly considering your badge is doing very well, but yeah. Hi.
also
Sorry.
considering the fact that one of my favorite movies of all time is Ghost in the Shell.
So
The
that's
science fiction.
Satoshi Kon?
No,
No.
that's not Satoshi Kon. That's
Okay.
Mamoru Oshii, I think. Yeah,
Okay.
Mamoru Oshii.
Okay.
That anime, that is an anime that inspired the Matrix. Let's put it very clearly. That inspired the Matrix. So
And it has a remake.
it has a remake which is quite trash.
Charlotte
And there
Manson.
is, yeah,
Yes.
and there is also Akira, the anime movie which inspired, I think, a lot of science fiction tropes besides Blade Runner. Akira is the other
What is
form of
this? Do you have any idea of this?
Summit
I've
of the
not
Gods
heard of it.
Netflix movie based on a manga
Okay.
comic, but animation is done by a French animation, so you can understand.
Sure.
So it can't be exactly be called an anime.
Sure, got it.
So overall point being, I love the medium. My only thing is I usually don't explore the medium so much. I just wait for other people who are bigger experts than I am and then listen to their recommendations. Like
Sure, sure.
one of my favorite series from last year was Pluto. Pluto, which is
okay.
Pluto. Pluto is like it is almost Blade Runner-esque in a way, and it is like a commentary on Iraq war as well as artificial intelligence. It's about a lot of
Sure.
things.
Arey, you know, the weird thing is actually you are the one person amongst us who has seen the newest anime is Sanjeet. He's seen Boy and the Heron, right? The Boy and the
You
Heron.
guys haven't?
No, because it's not released anywhere.
It's not
India
released
release
here.
was announced
Apparently,
today.
it is releasing in India. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You saw it, right?
Also-
You didn't love it, I think. Okay.
Okay,
Sorry,
types.
sorry. Okay.
Also, the most accessible anime I think for all of us has been Hayao Miyazaki, which is weird to say considering I haven't seen many Miyazaki at all. But
Yeah.
but again, calling Miyazaki movies accessible is also quite weird considering what they're actually dealing with.
Yeah.
They're dealing with like
Spirited
magical
Away is
realism.
not normal at all.
Yeah.
So,
They're dealing with a
इसका मैंने
lot of
बड़ा नाम
magical
सुना है.
realism. Yeah. They're dealing with a lot of magical realism. And all
I
of
mean, they
that
also
stuff.
inspire a lot of Pixar, right? He at least inspired a lot of Pixar.
Yeah,
There's a
he at least
character in
inspired a
Spirited Away who literally is whatever the main symbol of Pixar is, the light bulb
Yes.
or
Light
whatever,
bulb,
that
yes.
jumping light bulb. Yeah.
My neighbor Totoro's that big Ojumaru, that big monster like thingy which looks like Snorlax from Pokemon. That is
Yes.
also very inspiration. Yeah, that is also like
बोलो
massive
वरुण ने मन में जोक को इतना सोचा हुआ है अच्छा कि खुद हंस हंस के पागल हो
नहीं
रहा
खुद
नहीं,
हंस हंस के बात कर रहे हैं यार.
नो 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 सर, आप लोग लाइट बल्ब की बात कर रहे थे, मेरे को सडनली वो पिक्चर याद आई जिसमें एक
ट्यूबलाइट
का बटन होता है।
ओके ओके ओके. नहीं 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 नहीं
क्या
नहीं
अरे
नहीं नहीं, मत
ब्रह्मास्त्र
बोलो.
यार
हाँ. Watch me some quite like it. Yeah, so
अच्छा प्रिपरेशन के लिए देख लो दिलजीत
अच्छा दिस इज फॉर
वही
अमर सिंह
चमकीला के
चमकीला
पहले।
चमकीला चमकीला।
ओके हाँ सॉरी अमर यू सेइंग ओह माय
no, that's I think that's the most I can say about anime unless you guys want some recommendation. But I think people who are already asking this question know the animes which I'm going to recommend anyway because those are not
Sure.
like very
Yeah, so I mean, Rajiv, we are unfortunately not the best podcast in terms of just knowing. Like, we don't have people. I'm sure there are people who we know who we can bring on who'll be better informed at talking about the style. I mean, whatever little I've watched is mainly of Satoshi Kon, and I have Grave of the Fireflies, which is just horrifyingly sad throughout
Yes.
and out. Like Isao Takahata, I
Bare-
think that's the film.
Barefoot
filmmaker.
Jen is also horrifying, quite horrifying.
Yeah. So I mean, a lot of it's very like whichever adult anime, whatever you want to say, you watch. I think it's fairly heady. Perfect Blue is insane as a film. So I think
Yes.
Perfect Blue is something like when I've watched that like 2-3 times now, and it's just like it's inspired films like not inspired. You can say Black Swan ripped it off only.
उसको inspiration नहीं कहते हैं.
It is borderline whatever.
have
So
remake?
again,
It is
Aronofsky.
sorry.
Aronofsky
yeah.
had remake rights, no?
Oh, he had
yes,
remake
yes.
rights or what? Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
But remake
so
rights usually mean same format. You have
Sorry?
to make it in the same format. You can't make it in a different medium, right?
I mean, then it is an
but-
adaptation
हाँ.
rights तो हो ही जाते हैं, एक ही बात है.
Mhm.
Yeah. Anyway, look, but I
Anyway,
डेथ
Yeah.
नोट देखा है मैंने भी.
Death
Death
Note,
Note
to what the original one or the one which Adam Wing got messed up.
The original one. Adam Wing got
Barely
made it trash one.
37 episodes, I think I've seen that one.
Yeah, 37
37
episodes.
episodes.
What is it? What is Death Note about?
Death Note is
Seneca
about a
Ramayana.
guy. Death Note is about a guy who gets a diary. Okay, a diary given to him by a demon. If he writes a name in the diary, the
That
name
person
of the guy who's written, that guy dies. That is the premise.
Okay.
And
okay.
so there, yeah, it's quite good. And also
Sure.
by Ramayana, I'm going to assume the Sanika means Ramayana, the Legend of Prince Ram. Which is also
Yeah.
anime.
Amrish
Yeah, yeah.
Puri
Amrish
Yes.
Puri.
is so
Amrish
good.
Puri. Yes.
And Bryan Cranston is Ram.
Bryan Cranston was Ram in the English dub. Yes.
Seriously?
Bryan Cranston has done
Yes.
some weird stuff. Huh?
Bryan Cranston. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Like
So-
Breaking Bad,
Okay.
very weird.
Oh yeah, it's very weird.
Nee, apart from that, he's done very weird stuff.
by that point, I can only say that Sanika, your anime knowledge is quite okay. So don't worry.
Yeah,
about
and Varun just private messaged me saying, "1 moment, I'll be back." So sorry guys.
So yeah,
sorry
defeating
for
the purpose of a private chat, but okay.
but I mean,
Loo break.
ठीक है. Loo break probably. Anyways, before we go into the other question, we can talk about Amartya's favorite, I think. Okay, wow. You don't need to be that. Are you that turned off by the whole medium?
Somebody asked a question, Chris.
हाँ
क्या
क्वेश्चन
बोल
क्वेश्चन पूछा था तो
पूछा था, हम
आंसर
क्या
तो
कर
करना बनता है सॉरी
हाँ मतलब ऐसे ही थोड़ी छोड़ सकते हैं.
Cowboy Bebop was
हाँ.
also pretty interesting that way, huh?
Cowboy Bebop, don't watch the Netflix version, please. For
Not
the
the
love of God,
Netflix,
do
I
not
have
watch
not even
the
gone here, but the
Yeah.
original. of
Watch the
course.
original anime.
Super nice.
ओके भी
ये
हाँ बोलो.
मैजामपुर से I remembered. Have you watched this movie, Punjabi movie called Jodi? Apparently, last year Diljit did a Punjabi movie in which he plays a man called Amar Singh Chamak.
No, it's
Which is
based on the
basically-
same thing. It's the same thing. I haven't seen it, of course, but I know.
Okay, fine, fair enough. Personal reasons which are very
I think,
understandable.
Chris, just one question for curiosity. What did your brother try to do? Like, which are the animes he tried to get you into?
I
That's
like
my
how you
question.
make it seem like his brother tried to rob a bank or something. What did your brother try?
No, but it is very specific in a sense, no, because firstly it is very like some of it's weird, like in a very it's not a normal anime is not. I don't know how
I grew
to
up- I grew up watching
sugar
Dragon Ball
coated.
Z and Pokemon,
Yeah,
so it's
Dragon
It
like
Ball
is
Z is
weird,
also
अरे
no?
हाँ सब
yeah.
it
देखते
is
थे when I
quite
was
weird.
also
Huh,
I
and
think
weird,
like
and I think there is an exposition issue only. I'll say, I suppose, in some
That
senses, though.
that is he tried to get me into Death Note and My Hero Academia. Okay, so My Hero Academia is the most accessible because it looks like a superhero. It looks like a westernized superhero concept in anime form. So I understand. I will suggest
Sure.
Chris, if you really want to get into something, I will suggest watch Cowboy Bebop and Pluto. Those two you will
I'd
like.
suggest watch Perfect Blue. Go into the deep
Yes.
end, you'll enjoy it.
Watch the Satoshi Kon stuff. Watch Miyazaki. Those are good.
अरे थॉमस द टैंक इंजन देखो मजे हो जाएंगे भाई
हाँ, आपका
बात ही
रिकमेंडेशन कोई नहीं ले
सर,
रहा सर, चलो
ये जोक पे संजीत और मैं नहीं हंसे तो और कोई नहीं हंसेगा.
यस
इट वाज मेंट फॉर अमरते आई डोंट थिंक आप लोगों के जमाने में था
जमाने
तो
में
वो
थी.
उसका
ऑफ
थ्रेशोल्ड
कोर्स,
30
ऑफ
के ऊपर
कोर्स.
है क्या?
वाह 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 ऑफ कोर्स वाह 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 तेज जोक बिकॉज ऑब्वियसली
Anime
व्हाई
names
यू
sound like weird.
या बिकॉज दे समटाइम्स आर काइंड ऑफ या
aren't the Japanese
Probably.
one of the most sex obsessed
You,
people in the world though
या काइंड ऑफ यस एंड ऑफ
yeah,
कोर्स वी आर
for
नॉट टॉकिंग
that,
अबाउट द जापानीज यस
for that you can talk up. You can watch. What is the guy's face? The director's name? Nagisa Oshima. What
Nagisa
is
Oshima's, yes, in the realm of the
in the realm of
senses.
the
Say Nage.
senses?
Yes, 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 and Sanjit's reaction. Yes,
Insert that Amrish Puri
Anyways, Amartya, before Varun
Koina.
gets more chances to embarrass us all,
yes.
can you
Why?
please mention your.
sir I
नहीं,
stopped
नहीं.
embarrassing Sanjeet देखो वो नहीं है अभी बैकग्राउंड में
मैं नहीं हूँ.
ये करने के लिए 1 मिनट लिया था आपने.
Shit.
to
I
acknowledge
love this
Sanjeet's
dedication.
presence
I think, yeah, okay. No, Amartya, you say your favorite or whatever you want to talk about, because a lot of the films which are favorites we've already talked about in different, podcasts, or it's on the like podcasts which have released as episodes on Spotify. No, on Spotify,
Yes.
no, and some of them have been covered in the live stream. So yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So give me a minute. That is because I have already seen 156 movies this year. So
ये
as you said,
flex तो
imagine-
करना ही था.
हाँ करना
वाह.
पड़ेगा.
वाह.
Yes, yes, yes.
Can you
So-
repeat that number again, please?
No, I am not going to. Thank you. I have been embarrassed.
156, I remember it.
756.
Yes.
856.
Yes. So the best movie which I had seen is tied between two. One of the movies we have already talked in a recently released podcast, which is called Harakiri. No, Harakiri. So we are not
उसका
going to
काम
talk
है,
about it.
Chris.
Yeah,
उसका
it's
काम है.
work. Yeah, I'm sorry, it's work.
Sounds
Yeah.
so
Sorry.
much like
He's in lockdown.
sounds so much like my mom.
Yes. Yeah.
क्या बैठ के पिक्चर बना रहा है?
Yeah. Acha, so March I have two movies to talk about which are
Yeah.
the best movies. One is surprisingly an anime. It's called The
Oh.
First Slam Dunk. The First Slam
Okay.
Dunk, which is a basketball movie.
Okay.
I think it's one of the best sports movies I've ever seen quite recently because it is very, how do I put this? It is very process oriented in a way. The movie basically focuses on only one basketball match, okay, that is being played between two teams, two competing high school teams, okay, and we are following 5 players from the one basketball team we are supposed to follow while the game is going on. One of the player is highlighted while he does moves and everything, and then the flashback sequences goes back and we are given context as to what is happening.
Interesting.
What is very impressive about First Slam Dunk is not just the animation. The fact is, the First Slam Dunk actually acts as a series finale to a show called Slam Dunk. It is a
Okay.
series finale. Let me be very clear. It is a
They've
series
done
finale.
this with a live action show in America also. They made a movie
I
because
think-
they didn't have the budget for a show.
Yeah, but the difference here is I haven't seen any of the show. I haven't seen the show at all. I don't know anything about the manga at all. I love the movie. I didn't need context about the show or anything.
Ah, but
No,
that's
no.
very impressive considering
That
you've
is
not,
hugely
seen the
impressive,
whole.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they know exactly which parts to give us context and which parts we need to just know enough to understand the
Sure.
relationship dynamics. That's it. I think
Sure.
that film. I think that is fantastic. So that's
Got
one.
it.
The other movie which I had seen was because of a assignment which I had been given, and which Amrit is not letting go of at this point. So that is the Rob Reiner list. So I was exploring Rob
Oh,
Reiner's filmography, and I recently saw Stand By Me.
Sure. Udan before Udan. Some point.
Kind of, yes,
Yes.
somewhat.
Yes.
are you calling
I do think,
Motwani a plagiarist?
No,
no, no,
he's
no.
inspired by
He
Kes,
is
well,
inspired
mostly,
by it.
but
Yes, yes.
this also, yeah.
I think the best aspect of Stand By Me is the fact that, look, we know that Stephen King is a nostalgic person. You know, he is nostalgic about his childhood. He's nostalgic about 40s and 50s.
सर इतने
I think
ड्रग्स लिए थे तो
Stand By
नॉस्टैल्जिक क्यों होएगा?
I think Stand By Me is a dark inverted mirror of that, because I'm going to ignore that completely. I have never wanted to give Stephen King of all people shade, but okay. He has gotten
No,
enough shade from Kubrick. He doesn't
no
need shade from us.
his opinions on like which movies adaptations of his own he likes are pretty
Yes,
appalling
pretty
That's, I
sometimes.
appalling.
mean,
Yes,
he's a writer. He's only going to look at what was faithful to his material.
अरे सर
yes, yes,
डार्क टावर
exactly.
में काय का फेथफुल?
हाँ.
अरे but
अच्छा,
also
so
कितना पैसा मिला हुआ?
exactly.
बोलने के
Awful
लिए.
movie. Awful.
Also, Stand By Me.
You know,
Also, he
you
was
can
quite,
adapt one of his stories into film for like $1 or something on his
$1
website.
yes. Hmm.
short story.
One
Stand
dollar.
By
So
Me. Yeah,
हाँ
Stand By
बोलो
Me
बोलो
is
Stand by. हाँ.
apparently another adaptation that he liked a lot,
Sure.
which I understand. I think Stand By Me works because it is an inverted mirror of nostalgia. Like, it
Okay.
is showing us the Americana we are supposed to understand, right? Like, you know, bright skies, bright and blue skies. Okay, people are jumping, people are, you know, galloping and frolicking everywhere. Kids are going on a journey to find themselves. It's all
This
that.
is
Well, it's
1980s का end, right? If I'm not wrong. When did
yes,
it release? Yeah.
I think around 1988 or 87,
Sure.
something like that.
88, I think. Yeah.
I can be wrong just putting it up. But
Mm-hmm.
it is also quite dark regarding nostalgia. You know,
Sure.
like, it is not sugarcoating you about life itself. Like, the kids are going out to look at a dead body they
This
have learned
sounds
of a
like
dead
it
body. This is
minus
better
the
than it.
हाँ तो
clown.
वो
This is better than it. It's
वो थोड़ा
minus the
बहुत
clown,
इधर उधर.
minus the horror. It's minus the quote unquote overt horror. This is more on treatise on life in general, and basically a coming of
Sure.
age story without any of
Okay.
the nonsense horror stuff. So,
Varun has made some horrible, useless comment which I'm not going to put up, but you continue.
yeah, we are not going to
Yeah.
put that up here.
Yes.
So that is one movie I really loved. I think that is also Rob Reiner's best direction. I
Sure.
think
You
Rob
liked
Reiner.
even a few
Which
good
one?
men also.
Princess
you liked.
Bride is really good.
Princess Bride is good. I think his two best works at this point are the two Stephen King adaptations he had done. One is Stand By Me, and the other one is
Misery?
Misery. Yeah,
Hmm.
I want
I
to
love
watch
those
Misery.
two.
That
Must.
book is beautiful.
yeah. I love those
Misery is
two
amazing.
movies because here's a controversial thing. Okay, Rob Reiner is a director who doesn't exactly have a quote unquote visual style. He's not your auteur. Okay, he's almost a journeyman. But
Sure.
he was one lucky director because he got to work with great writers. He got to work with Stephen King. He got to work with William Goldman, and he got to work with Aaron Sorkin. There is a reason why
But
all
Sorkin, like
the
way before he was Sorkin.
yeah, way before he was Sorkin, and that is why he was good, right? So the thing
Few
about
good
it
men,
is,
no?
Few good men, yeah.
Sorry,
Mm.
as we know it.
Yes, Shaurya, yes.
Yeah.
So that is the
And
thing
that
why
Varun comment.
I also think that Stand By Me is one of the best Stephen King adaptations. Besides The Shining, I also think that it is one of the best Stephen King adaptations. I can understand why Americans are so much in love with Stephen King. This is a guy who
Sure.
is talking about Americana in a unvarnished way as only he can.
Sure.
You know, and also this is so accessible that even non-Americans can feel what he's trying to say. That is why I think Stand By Me works, at least for me. So
Fair
these are
enough.
the
King is unlike a humor situation. King is so
Yeah.
closely knit to the horror genre. Horror will scare anybody from any part of the world. Humor is so
Exactly.
सिवाय
specific.
आपके.
Like Woodhouse will not be funny to everyone.
yeah,
But
comedy is subjective. Horror
very
is done
horror
right is
will, like reading. I read Stephen King in the winter exclusively because order like that. Literally, like आ
Yep.
जाएगा कोई.
सर आपको ना मौसम और पिक्चर देखने का वो बनाना चाहिए स्केड्यूल.
Definitely. Picture, though, I think
अच्छा
anything works at any point.
अच्छा
Anyways,
okay.
before thank you Avartya for being very eloquent about your
And
descriptions
Dhruv for
also
not
about your
being so.
films. Okay, fine.
हाँ
Varun is my Grammarly essentially. Or
because
everywhere.
Grammarly
सही है,
because
फ्री में मिला
Grammarly
है।
and
उन्होंने भी
Quillbot
ऐप
is
मेरा
बनाया and subscribe to
फ्री
it.
Grammarly है मेरा.
because Grammarly and Quillbot isn't annoying enough. Yeah, yeah.
Anyways, but yes, thank you for your recommendations. I do really want to watch Stand By Me. It's one of those films which has sort of just slipped under. It has been on the watch list for the longest time, but haven't watched it.
Most
But yeah,
most Rob
very
Reiner
interesting.
movies are like that only. They are so instrumental in shaping American pop culture and overall world pop culture.
Yeah.
Those slip through the cracks,
Yeah, I
and
mean, Princess
because
Bride is so good. Like, I mean, I
Princess
was
Bride is
surprised by
great.
how much I liked it.
Amy
Yeah,
Yeah,
Adams,
it's
no?
yeah.
so good. Huh?
Amy Adams, hai?
No, ADM
कौन है
Princess
Princess
Bride.
Bride में?
another movie.
Princess Bride में
Enchanted
Princess
too.
Robin Wright. Princess Bride has Robin Wright.
Robin
Princess Bride
Wright.
has
हाँ,
As a princess, I
yeah.
can't see
He's
her as
the
Yeah.
anything other than a cutthroat politician in here.
yeah,
yeah
yeah.
वो
because you've
आपने
seen too much
उनको
House of Cards.
हाँ
Yeah.
हाँ
अरे,
yeah.
she's good in
But
that
you
one
can't see
Sean
her
Penn
as
movie also.
Jenny in Forrest Gump. क्या कर रहे हो इसमें? Jenny
No,
है ना
हाँ मत
Forrest
देखो
Gump.
फॉरेस्ट
I'm
गंप.
not going near that film. I've never seen it.
she's actually the
Anyways,
best actor in that movie. Huh?
मेरे लिए मेरा गम
फॉरेस्ट
सिर्फ आमिर खान
for,
हो गया वो लेवल.
Your Gump is a
for,
chatta.
Forest Gump defenders can please come in. You are most welcome.
हम मार देंगे
Anyways,
सबको.
अच्छा ठीक है अब बताओ फिर.
Cannot pay defense.
Anyways, no, Amartya, you are staying or
Uh,
not?
I'm staying for another 15 minutes and I'm going.
Sure. So
chill
we
करो
will.
यार, थोड़ी देर और.
I will be
chill करो
there
तो बैठिए.
if I'm going out. Okay, I'll be there if
No,
it's
no.
any longer.
Okay. Anyways, one question then we can address, and then after the question ka answer, okay, and this is going to be a fairly lengthy discussion because the question is such. But when you want to leave, just tell me. You can easily exit the live stream and everything. Okay. Question is by Curiouser Adityan, who has appeared on the live stream and podcast both before.
Thalapathy Vijay
He,
super
Hi
fan.
bro.
Yes.
yes.
Thalapathy Vijay super fan. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Anyways, the question is very interesting. I feel almost loaded considering what we've watched in the past 3-4 weeks.
And what we
But
last
What's the
we covered them on live stream also. But yeah, question is why is that Hindi cinema isn't making the films like it used to? So where do we want? Yeah, you can please go ahead, Varun.
Can I just ask? Can I just ask this to the viewers and to the listeners? Do you want me to be eloquent or do you want me to go all out?
जो आपका मन हो सर. हम डेमोक्रेटिक प्लेटफॉर्म
आपके-
लाइक
जो दिल
आपको
करे.
हाँ जो दिल करे.
Uh,
my point is very simple. It's that we live in this delusion that सिर्फ अभी खराब पिक्चरें बन रही हैं. I'm sorry.
पहले
but
भी
we've
उतनी
had-
खराब थी. पहले भी
Yeah,
सही
it
में
is-
पहले
it
भी
is
इतनी
कार
खराब थी, yeah.
बन रही थी ना हिमेश के साथ.
मिथुन, Jack, okay?
के साथ सबसे पहले बेचारे उसी को ले आया तू.
I am
पहले भी
surprised
तो
that
अहमद
Sanjeev
खान
got a
पाठशाला
first.
बना रहा था ना.
No, no. I think what Adityan is referring to might, and I agree with what Varun is saying to some extent. That there is a romanticization of whatever has passed, and जो भी अपन बचपन में देखते हैं, we sort of want films to sometimes be like that,
Jajantam
right?
Mantram today and tell me it's enjoyable. And we'll see.
No, but okay. So I guess the big,
चोटी से मारेगा तेरे को.
you know what the big problem I think, the big problem, the big problem now. No, the big problem now is that you have access to everything else, I feel. And now that you have access to everything else so readily, not even like, कि आपको effort डालना पड़ रहा है to go and get, your international
Video
film
library,
का, whatever, yeah. You can just get everything at, like, on Netflix sometimes, on other streaming platforms, torrents, whatever. But the idea is that I think you are exposed to so much that the problems that maybe were there become even more amplified because you're just like, what is this relative to even whatever stuff I am watching? That said, I'll just finish my small thought and then you guys take over. Like, I think my main thing is it's also that there is a distinctive identity crisis right now, right? With Hindi cinema in particular. It's like ki you don't know what to or what to commit to only. It's like you're doing your one foot is in the Hollywood bracket ki inko ape karna hai. Like you see something like Crew, which is like your Oceans, whatever thingy. And it's made in a way which is very sloppy. It's made in a way which wants to sort of do the English film thing, but also wants to do some of the Bollywood thing. So you kind of get a bad mix of both. There's your Gehraiya example, which I think is like the worst example of how you sort of engineer or re-engineer this sort of thing. My point of view, I know that other points of view are different. But I'm saying that sort of there is that identity crisis which is unique, I think, to now as opposed to it was there before. So I think my point of view is that, but I also harbor a particular affection for some cinema that as we discussed on chat today, all of us don't. So like that's there also. Like it's different forms of affection for for different forms of Hindi cinema, and that's how you sort of respond.
Okay,
Yeah.
so hold. So
Uh,
here's one thing. One thing.
hmm.
The thing about this is कि bad movies have been made ever since movies have been created.
Of
Let's
course.
not stay under the illusion कि movies कचरा अभी हो रहा है.
Of course.
Movies
Yeah.
कचरा 1940s में भी था, 1950s में भी था, 1960s में भी था.
Mhm.
What we have now is the benefit of time.
Yeah.
When we explore 1940s or 1950s movies, obviously we are going to explore the good ones. We are not
Good
going
ones,
to,
yeah.
Also
intentionally
retrospective
go
में
after.
मूवी का पर्सपेक्टिव भी चेंज हो जाएगा ना.
हाँ,
Of course.
लाइक
of
जो
course.
उस समय अच्छी नहीं थी तो वो बात तो होती है ना.
Yes.
How many
Yeah,
times
yeah,
have
of
you
course.
spoken
They
about
have
those kind
gotten
of
so
movies?
much heat, right, when it released.
Yeah. But again, the degree of badness, I think, because Adityan is asking this question, I think the question comes कि degree of badness कितना होना चाहिए, and what
Yes.
both Varun, me, and even to some extent Sanjit and you, we all agree कि Bollywood में कुछ तो गड़बड़ है, because some of these movies lack basic competence. कुछ तो गड़बड़ है, basic competence
And
का ही गड़बड़ है.
I feel it's also not just ki you have your what is that movie's name यार, that John Abraham की सत्यमेव जयते type, वो सब बकवास तो है ही, वो तो ठीक है, that's your patented बकवास. But like you are getting films now in which seasoned or like what you consider semi-skilled directors are making stuff which feels amateur.
Yeah.
Amateur is
So-
being kind. Which feels
so here's one
Homi
problem.
Adajania.
Only other channel.
Okay.
Yeah. Here's one problem though, and I'm sorry I'm going to bring this up, Dhruv, because I know you like this director, but I have to bring this
No,
up
bring
because
it
he's
up. Yeah.
no, because he is the harbinger and the marker of an entire generation. That's why I
Karan
have to
Bhulika
bring
Pakka.
this up.
और
Yeah.
कौन है? हाँ.
Huh. So we have filmmakers like Adi Chopra. We have filmmakers like Adi Chopra and Kejo. Okay, these guys popularized the brand of romantic movies that overtly showed the NRI populace, overtly showed an urban form of romanticism, and the thing is, it worked. Okay, Sanjeet, you needed to say something.
नहीं बोल
बोलो,
कंटिन्यू
बोलो.
कंटिन्यू.
No, my point is, number one, तो ये business है. Okay,
Hmm.
they are always going to follow after what is earning them money.
Of course.
So my thing is कि because these romances worked for a very long time, all these filmmakers, they began to lose a very specific skill set. What the specific skill set is, they began to lose skill set on how to adapt other genres. Like
Sure.
a masala movie you can't find in Bollywood anymore because they don't know how to make one. They don't know how to write a script for that.
But to
is
explain,
Rohit
I'm not
अकेले तो
defending.
बचा
I'm not defending. I was about to say, ki, isn't there a different subset only for that type of filmmaking and director? Like I feel like even
Yeah,
at that point in time, there was someone else making a film which was your whatever you want to define as masala.
Yeah,
also.
but
The
when
reaches
you're
are different.
when your major studios when your major studios are going after just that one specific genre or one or two specific genres, like crass comedy, sex comedy, pun comedy. That's it. Those are the three comedies you have, and then you have romances. Then you have romances which should either be Kejo or which should be a deviation from Kejo, but not too much because you can't
आई
go
थिंक
after the money.
आई थिंक यहाँ पे सिचुएशन ऐसी भी है. पहली बात,
हाँ,
जो सबसे अच्छे डायरेक्टर्स हैं,
हाँ,
they are all making ads. They're not making
Yes.
films. They're not making films at all. The more talented ones that I'm seeing, like
Yeah,
who
yeah,
have who have a certain skill. Like there is that one guy who came from ads and music videos to film, which was that remake
अरे
of
द
Ram 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 Ram.
तेवर तेवर जिसने बनाई
No,
थी.
that is Amit Sharma.
Amit
That is
Sharma.
to
But he
Choda.
made something decent with Badai Ho also.
Hmm.
Right.
Hmm.
Yes, yes.
I'm saying who's that
Hmm.
guy? Akash Bhati, I think, who made Loop Lapeta, I think. So
Yes.
अच्छा.
you do see a certain idea, a set of a voice that is very unique
Vinyl,
to himself.
Vinyl
But
Matthew did Hasi
again,
To Bas.
again, and also,
Sorry.
Sanjit, I think ambition is exceeding competence because market अब ऐसा हो रहा है ना because people are exposed to so many different movies.
Hmm.
Bollywood is trying to catch up. Bollywood is trying to meet ambition क्योंकि viewer लोगों को तो पता नहीं है कि logistics क्या है.
Hmm.
Viewers want similar to what they are seeing on the screen. So
Look, if
viewers
you're
want a dune.
yeah,
So
exactly.
viewers
If
want a
you're
dune.
charging me the same amount of money, I need
Exactly.
the same kind of bang for my buck.
Yeah,
It's not
so
that
viewers want a Dune, but they don't understand that filmmakers aren't competent enough to make Dune. So they are going to make
वो
shit like
I
गणपत बना
Brahmastra.
देते हैं फिर.
I don't think it's
Ganpat
just a
bana
matter of
dete ya
competence.
Brahmastra bana dete.
It's also a
Yeah.
matter of people wanting to commit that much time to a film.
Hmm.
Right? It's
Hmm.
the sheer
अरे,
magnitude
there's
of that
that.
kind of project
I
is
agree,
immense.
but I think that it all boils down to the fact that what is happening in Bombay. Right at this point, Bombay is the hub. Right, वहाँ पे advertisements का culture is more than that of what films is supposed to be. I think
Hmm.
it's a very general statement. I'm not talking about like
Hmm.
5 different people, but I'm
Hmm.
just talking in general. वहाँ पे advertisement जो बना रहे हैं, it is a very good money making process. Like you
Hmm.
work on ads for like few days and you make a pretty good amount of money. Like I think I made fairly decent amount of money working only for like 4 days on something which was
Yeah,
like
exactly.
a day's work technically.
Hmm. Hmm.
एंड वो
Yeah.
फिल्म के लिए वो कौन पुश कर रहा है एट द एंड ऑफ द डे,
Hmm.
कौन
Yeah.
उसको
See,
जान मार के बनाएगा. People who
I
work 20 years in ads are then go, I'm just saying a number 20 years,
Hmm.
but you see Rakesh Om Prakash Mehra who worked in ads for so long that then he decided, okay, now I make movies. Then he made
Hmm.
Finance Bhag Milka Bhag for initial amount of
Yeah.
money for himself. So I'm just saying you need to have that kind of money
Hmm.
and backing also to be like, okay, now I can fall back and direct something like that.
And also,
Yeah.
Right.
I'm going to be very
कौन
humble
अच्छा
to
डायरेक्टर
here.
आया है लास्ट 5 साल में बताओ.
एग्जैक्टली
कोई
एग्जैक्टली
आया ही नहीं है.
वो तो एक बात है. दूसरी बात
हाँ.
कि production companies like say YRF or Dharma, they are
Hmm.
backing maximum of the time they are now backing the directors in their own stables only. They have been doing
Yes.
that for a very long time, but beforehand at least they were giving chances to younger filmmakers. अभी तो कुछ भी नहीं दिख रहा भाई.
no, Dharma
But
signed 14 new directors before the pandemic, but pandemic is a
Yeah.
beast. Abhi wo, they've not been
Yeah.
able to push those films back to the close.
Yeah.
Also, like, I mean,
But
I'm
Dharma as a
not
production
defending.
has its own philosophy of what kind of cinema it wants to make also.
I'll tell you
I
what
don't
I
know.
But
believe is
if
the
you,
basic problem.
but if you are then backing Kill, if you are then backing a movie like Kill, that means you
That's
want
also
to
in
experiment.
collaboration with Guneet Monga.
Guneet
Yeah, it's
Monga,
also
na, that is the big
yeah, yeah,
difference.
yeah.
Hmm.
Sikya
But
is the good producer on that.
yeah, also here's another thing which really needs to be very emphasized always.
Hmm.
Give a platform and give your focus on your writers. Writers को थोड़ा value दो. Writers को थोड़ा develop करो. Writers को
कब से
chances
यही
दो.
बात हो रही है.
हाँ,
See,
क्या कर रहे हो?
I'll
मीडियोकर फिल्म्स तो
ages
बकवास होगा ही ना. मीडियोकर फिल्म्स भी बकवास होगा नहीं तो.
Hmm.
Writers are given like absurd deadlines to make
Hmm.
scripts which take years to make. कैसे होगा? ये
See,
क्या
I'll
AI
tell you
है? ये
also-
क्या
Corporate
AI है?
assignments, no. Corporate
Yeah.
assignments.
also
But
Corporate
it will always be
has-
that glass door, like window perspective towards what you're trying to make, no, always.
Hmm.
Exactly.
Like what was that film? Like I forgot. On Netflix pay it had come.
Which one?
Sardar
Itna
ka
Kachra
grandson.
Aata Hai.
Have you seen? Do you know
I've
about
heard
that
of
film?
it.
Arjun
Kashmir
Kapoor is in
directed
it.
him.
Sardar ka grandson. Right.
अरे हाँ,
I
yes,
haven't even
yes,
heard
sure.
of
In
this.
which
So yeah.
basically the concept is कि घर
घर
शिफ्ट
उठा के
करता
ट्रा-
पाकिस्तान से इंडिया. That's the whole idea. But क्या बैंड बजाई है उन्होंने?
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Sara. I think
Oh,
Sara
yeah.
will probably
Also-
take
also
a hiatus
this-
on like.
I think it is
Yeah.
also the network that is
Hmm.
the kind of people who are working. I think writers get paid very well if you're
Hmm.
working in that whole circle. If you're a
Circle,
top
yeah.
writer like Ritesh Shah or someone, you do get paid really well. You're not like some
पर वो तो dialogue पे
25
dialogue
लाख का
छापता है
स्क्रिप्ट
ना,
नहीं
वो
होता है. You get really decent amount of
Yeah,
money.
yeah, yeah. Also,
on a film like Crew, I know because one of my friends worked in the camera team. I know the DOP got paid really well. Technicians do get paid
Nice.
well on a
Talking
good
about
film.
DOP,
It's not like the money is not there. It's like how much time are you taking to do something? Like how much
Exactly.
so see,
mistakes.
I'll weigh in on something that troubles me about Hindi cinema now. Right? It's become too fragmented. So this was something that I hate to come down on Dhruv like this because that's what it sounds like. Amartya and I are piling onto him, but that's not the point.
Which you
If
are,
you
which
have
is
to look
okay.
at
तो
I'm all
जनरली होता ही है
ears.
ना वो
no,
तो.
no, no,
This is
yeah,
not a
because
surprise. It's okay.
You
because
know what the thing, is though. The thing is like filmmakers whom we are piling on because they have popularized the genre and they have made it the defining genre for Bollywood for a
no,
very
no,
long
I'm
time.
not in agreement with that. I'll tell you a different
Okay.
reason.
Okay,
When
fine.
you see a Shava Shava or a You Are My Sonia or a Bole Chudiya from KPG, there is a way the song is made. There is a vision
Yes.
of the director. You look cut to something like Rocky or Rani, and you're like, is this the same
Yes.
filmmaker? Because and this is a big point. I was recently the new Apple TV show Masters of the Airdrop, and Reddit. All this conversation was going on. Why, when Pacific and Band of Brothers had 50+ minute episodes, why does this have stuff between 36 and 40 and 45? Simple problem is audience attention span has just gone down and it's dropped. People are
I
not
feel
willing to
no.
sit.
I agree with you both in the sense that I'll agree with the fact that none of your Karan Johars or Aditya Chopra are filmmakers who'll stick to their guns even when times change. They will change according to the times, which is why you see something like a Shawa Shawa turn into what Jhumka. Like that's a
Yes,
big like a broad example, but I feel the idea is the editing thing. He's adapted because he's someone who wants to appeal to, it's a producer probably brain as opposed
and
to what you.
the thing is, it's also trying to appeal to the
Hey,
whole
but it's also
marketing
not just Johar.
sensibility of
Yaar. One second,
various.
one second.
It's not Johar.
I'm
It's
not.
not just
Even
Johar. Yeah.
Vetrimaran is doing the
I'm
same thing that way.
I'm doubling.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm doubling. Most filmmakers aren't shooting their songs anymore. Earlier, also the
Yes.
dance master or the choreographer used to be the person supervising that, but the director would have some input. There is no directorial voice. All songs look the same. They look
Yeah.
flatly shot,
Yeah.
bland sort of setups. It's
The
like
last
the
good
whole
music number
charm
I
of
feel I've seen is in Jubilee
Yes.
with
oh yeah.
Vamika
Jubilee to in
Gapi.
general is just done
Yeah.
very well.
Yeah.
But
So
even there,
also,
this whole song obsession in the streaming space, unless you got a singer for a character, it really bugs the life out of me. I'm like,
yeah,
why
because
do we
Indian
have to
police
put
force
a
में
song?
गाना क्या कर रहा है? Indian
अच्छा
police
you
force में
mean
गाना
हाँ
क्या कर रहा है?
क्वालिटी सीरीज की बात करो ना, गन्स एंड गुलाब्स में गाना क्यों है? That would be more my
हाँ.
question. आप
Guns
सीधा
and Gulabs
get
was last year. Guns and Gulabs was last year. This is this year.
said nothing
Yeah.
has happened this year. Wait, थोड़ा कुछ निकलने तो दो पहले.
No, but I
Why
feel
this
it's
late?
but that's a
निकल तो
but
रहा
I
है.
think this is very much getting back to this idea though of what you said ki I think there's just genuinely they don't know what to commit to only. Like that's why I feel something like RRR does work for me so much when I watch it. And I don't mean it like I'm not like the biggest fan of the film, but like when you see something in that
Combat
compared to when you yeah, the normal directorial prowess, like it's just, someone having conviction in their own voice and then going out and doing that. Like it's that simple
See,
in some senses.
I'll tell you
The
another
reason why
problem.
Rocky or Rani worked, even for me, a person who doesn't like his movies, Rocky or Rani worked for me because at the end of the day, it feels like this is a guy who is trying to make a movie after 7 years, and he's trying to make it as much convincingly as he possibly can. Conviction
Yeah.
matter करता है बहुत.
Yeah.
ठीक है. Just because you remake a movie doesn't mean you know the nook and cranny of making a movie.
Of
You know,
course.
just because
I'll
just because you're remaking a Gujarati movie from last year doesn't mean that you're going to make it the same impact of horror like you did in Shaitan. Na, hota to nahi hai, as we can see.
See, I'll give you a very the other reason a lot of cinema is not working in the Hindi mainstream is just
I am pretty sure Chris Patrick होएगा रोहित शेट्टी की पिक्चरों में.
है,
रोहित शेट्टी is
है.
actually
दो
very
गाना
bad
है,
with
दो गाना है,
bad with song
romantic song है.
placements in general.
He's
Horrible है.
horrible at it.
Rohit Shetty is horrible with song placements only. I feel in general. So
Rohit Shetty is
and
also
that's
horrible.
and I am.
Rohit Shetty is
I was
also
about to say.
horrible at masala filmmaking. The thing he apparently is known for.
I've not hated him as much as you guys, but I don't like I've not minded some of
इंडियन
his
पुलिस
comedy
फोर्स देखा
films.
नहीं
See,
है ना,
I'll just
इंडियन पुलिस फोर्स
I
तो देखा नहीं है इसलिए
हाँ ऑफ कोर्स मैं नहीं देखूंगा सर, मैंने असाइनमेंट नहीं
Yeah.
लिया था ना मैं क्यों
हाँ
देखूं.
I think now with the sort of changing tides of not changing tides. I mean, it's been 10 years since the BJP came to power. It's become increasingly difficult to make something that will not offend anyone.
Of
Rocky
course.
Orani got cuts because corporate entities would have been offended. Because at some point he mentions Old Monk, and he was made to call it something else. I'm like, what kind of censorship is this? You can't make a Kurban today. You can't.
We all we
Nikhil
all will, Chris. We all will.
Nikhil
Uh,
Advani was told by a religious body that if you try and put this particular film together, we will ensure that you don't you don't have a happy existence after that. You're clamping down on everything. So then, exactly what kind of interesting cinema is going to come out of anywhere, right?
कुछ
If
इंटरेस्टिंग
I
नहीं
think
चाहिए
corporates,
सर, कुछ
only
इंटरेस्टिंग नहीं
hold on,
चाहिए.
hold on, hold on. If corporates in the 90s had been so prudish and hissy-fitty about mera naam mat lena, do you think we would have gotten the most defining Bajaj joke in Andaz Apna Apna? No. Because Bajaj would have been like, how dare you use my name? Nikalo isko abhi. Or
नहीं
censor
but
would have said NOC lekar aao. What NOC business now is? It's just ridiculous. We are
नहीं it's
bouncing.
disheartening only.
I
I
think
mean
it's
it's you
also
just
dearth of
so
stories in general. You
That's
see,
because
like
these people don't know the country. I am convinced.
Yeah,
हाँ,
yeah.
तो
Bombay
I
cinema
am
that's
I
is
true. वो
very
तो
I
bubble में रह ही
100%
रहे हैं.
agree.
You
I
see,
100%
if you
agree. Yeah.
see all the interviews from most of the filmmakers, they're talking literally the same thing. कोई अलग बात ही नहीं करते क्योंकि वो लोग इंडस्ट्री में वही 5 बातें कर रहे हैं और वही 5 बातें आके सुनाते हैं.
not just that.
किसी को
Yeah.
कुछ
Like I
पता ही
saw
नहीं what
the
is happening on
recent
They
ground
are
level. That
talking.
is the worst
I
part.
saw a recent
Yeah.
interview of Imtiaz Ali where he was like, "We've become city people." And like 6 years ago, Tigmanshu Gulia was saying the same thing. Where
हाँ,
is the progression between these so-called independent-minded directors also? वो भी तो
एग्जैक्टली
progress नहीं कर रहे.
खत्म
अनुराग
क्योंकि वो
कश्यप
भी
का क्या
5 लोग
output?
अपने सर्कल में ही बातें कर रहे हैं एको चेम्बर
Exactly.
में. That's
And
And
true.
उसका
वो
even
तो
opening
वो तो
and
अभी
weekend
even the
डिस्कस नो
quote unquote
अंसल मेहता कश्यप अनुभव सिन्हा का तो है ही ना एको चेम्बर
हाँ, even
सुधीर
the
मिश्रा
quote
के साथ.
unquote
it's an
even
interesting
these quote
point.
unquote disruptors are also like disruptors are talking within
इट्स ट्रू.
themselves only. Yeah.
हाँ,
I
तो
mean,
वो
Yeah.
I
उनके
think
something
that's a
that is
इंटरव्यूज में
not
good
जाके
point by
happening.
Chris Patrick also in
सब लोग
general.
के
Just the
इंटरव्यू
whole.
में देखोगे जाके सब ये बोलते हैं भाई कोविड में सबने बाहर का सिनेमा और सीरीज देखी सबका दिमाग खुल गया. अरे पता है अब आगे
खोल क्या
बताओ भाई
गया,
चार
बंद हो गया और ना.
भूल गया बन गया
4 साल हो गए
बंद
वही
हो गया
बात
वो.
करते हुए तुम्हारे सामने
हाँ,
2020 से 24
it's
पे आ गए हो.
2024.
What do you,
Yeah.
I think the reason I'm excited about Kill is at least from the teaser I can say okay it's doing something interesting with how it's cutting the action, how it's placing the camera. I don't want to see the same old. I'm fed up here of seeing cars crashing like they're plastic and
I will
it's
never be excited for a Dharma production action film, neither for a YRF. It's just my. I
I
don't think, as Amartya said, maybe the problem. No, I think actually for me, Amartya has hit the nail on the head in some cases. Ki maybe in trying to do one genre, they have forgotten how to actually do the others.
They have
Uh,
I
forgotten.
hate to say this, but uh, we've gotten. I mean, over time, the number of good editors in the film industry has increased. Number of good cinematographers has dropped. You look
Yes.
at someone like why Homi Adajania's most recent film looks shit. It's probably because Anil Mehta has not shot it, whereas Anil Mehta shot all his previous work.
I mean, his
Plus,
latest film is also
This is
going for an
Linesh
artificiality sort of
Desai,
thingy.
right?
So
What? Linesh
Dinesh
Desai?
Desai,
Yeah,
yeah,
he shot
yeah.
Saas Bahu or
Flamingo.
Flamingo.
Flamingo also, yeah.
It's not badly shot. I think it's
That
Yeah, but
doesn't
this
look half
Madam
bad. Yeah.
Mubarak is terrible.
Mubarak looks
It looks like
Tacky.
moderate. I mean, tacky. Right?
super bad.
The film doesn't commit to that tone. I'm saying if it had committed to that tone, I wouldn't have this committed.
this is the other
I'm
thing I
saying
think which I had
You guys
mentioned
discussed, no? It looked
a
like,
little
I think
bit.
Varun pointed out, it looked like some badly produced TV film or something like that. I
like
think
you
for
just put like lights on top and be like, chalo sir,
हाँ
हो
वही
गया studio lighting कर दिया हमने.
easier to do, no? It is easier to do. Just
Yeah, yeah,
setup
exactly.
बनाया and फटाफट shoot किया.
But
10 shot हो गए
it's
दिन
like
के दिन खत्म हो गया सो
the
जाते
thing
हैं.
is that there is a the it's a visual medium. You know, you're not making Jonathan Glazer type movies where I can appreciate the sound. So
Sir,
please
बाबा
pay
छोड़
attention.
दो
कहाँ
ये.
जा रहे हो?
I'm saying please pay attention to the visual. If it's not, and it's not just
No,
about
no, 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 no,
looking
no, no. Actually, leave. No, I'll just correct. You
good.
first pay attention to the sound. you
Exactly.
first honestly pay attention to the sound. Considering you use it so much, you pay attention to how you use it
I'm
sometimes. Because
saying you
you know if
pay attention definitely because I'm stop giving me audio cues. My only complaint from Lapata ladies was really that if you would stop giving me these cues, I would be much happier.
वो आमिर खान ने उंगली करी है पक्का.
very
हाँ,
likely.
My,
guarantee.
my thing is
हाँ, हाँ, guarantee,
the
guarantee.
and
आमिर खान
the
बोलेगा ये मुझे
audience's
फीलिंग नहीं दे
idea
रहा, डालो इसमें और. वही उसने एक्टिंग में
about
किया था
Amir
लालू
Khan.
सिद्धा में. फीलिंग नहीं दे रहा
अच्छा.
और
Sorry for
एक्टिंग करूंगा मैं. एक्टिंग के ऊपर
हाँ,
एक्टिंग
वही
करूंगा.
वही ना. हाँ,
so
that's the thing.
my
Hmm.
thing was that
Oh, we will be using Amartya's departure as a departure from this live stream as
Departure. ऐसा कह रहा है कि मैं ये इस dimension से
his
निकल रहा
mom is
हूँ.
waiting outside with a knife or an
Yes.
axe.
no, we are no because he has to leave. That's why I have cut this discussion also a little short. But Amartya, you can leave. Don't worry. We
Yeah.
wish
Okay.
you and Auntie a very happy birthday, and I hope you have more fun
हैप्पी
there
बर्थडे, हैप्पी
than you
बर्थडे.
had here.
We
So
are praying for. Don't pray for me. I'm
अस्सलाम
already
वालेकुम.
dead. I'm already
okay,
dead. Don't worry. Okay. Bye bye,
okay,
guys.
yeah. Bye. See you.
So my
अस्सलाम
my
वालेकुम.
I'll just quickly wrap up. Give me a second.
Yes.
My thing is that we've as an audience always said, अरे कश्मीर में शूट किया कितना खूबसूरत लग रहा है यार. तुम कश्मीर में ना एक आलू के साथ भी फोटो लोगे ना वो अच्छी दिखती है.
नहीं
तो
बट
एक
सी करेक्ट करेक्ट बट लाइक तू वही कैमरे का फ्रेम तू अगर धारावी में भी किधर फेंकेगा तेरे को अच्छा फ्रेम मिलेगा.
हाँ, you
Huh.
can as long the idea behind filmmaking has to be some lighting, some framing, some.
Of course.
I'm fed up with all this steady cam, फालतू का हैंड हेल्ड बार बार कट कर रहे हो. अरे शॉट चलने तो दो सेकंड यार. तुम्हें
आप गलत
इतना
एक्सपेक्टेशन लगा के बैठे हो सर.
no the independence that digital cameras have given these people, no, they just abuse the shit out.
हाँ,
Film camera के साथ
they've
इतनी
gone
discipline.
they've gone to a different direction, like distractingly
No,
different. Anyways,
I
हाँ.
noticed this about this show I'm watching, Fernando
Oh, Sugar.
Meriez, Sugar. I'm like, will you stop moving the damn camera? I need to see what's going on. Yeah? This is not
I'm
following
guessing.
us.
I'm.
Sir, you guys
Arey,
should really watch Ripley.
I
Robert
was about to say
Elswit
Ripley.
is on
Uh,
effing fire.
I was about to say
एक
कि.
फ्रेम
हाँ,
ऐसे
I was about to
बूंद
say something about
मतलब
that.
बोल दो सर.
He's a no. I was about to say that you will probably provide a good counterpoint to it by something like Robert Elswit's work in general. Also, like in Nightcrawler, I think his work is phenomenal, and otherwise with Paul Thomas
even
and
lesser works, let's say वो what Denzel
the
film.
one Velvet Buzzsaw was also him,
Not
right? He
Velvet
did some.
Buzzsaw, the other Gilroy movie, J.
Oh,
Robert
the
Esquire,
Roman, J.
Roman something
Roman.
something.
Yes,
Even
yes,
that
yes,
is
yes.
shot
Esquire.
really well.
Roman is great.
Really
Yeah.
well. I think
Yeah.
too good.
And this is not to say that you. And this is so sorry.
Handheld.
Just to. Yeah.
I'm just saying.
No, no.
that doing that, consider the unity of the frame in itself.
Of course.
That the action
Yes.
that is playing out, unless it is supposed to be deliberately not seen by the audience, then at least if you got something in focus, please leave it like that. तुम बार बार ऐसे टच एंगल फोर्स कर रहे हो किसी के ऊपर. अरे ये देख टेढ़ा. हमने क्यों कॉन्वर्सेशन है ना. लंच खा रहे हैं वो लोग. तेरे क्यों घुसना है उसके नाक के अंदर. ऐसा 2 मिनट.
You will not appreciate RGV's camera work then.
No, I
Anyways.
don't appreciate it already.
Okay, fine. Yeah, I mean, we've heard great things about it, Chris Patrick. We were planning on maybe discussing it, but I think that ship has sailed because Imtiaz has overtaken that ship. So
शिप पे मूवी नहीं की है
he's
ना अभी तक उसमें. रोड ट्रिप ही हो रहा है.
sir बस okay हो गया. सफर और नहीं चाहिए हमें वहां पे.
I'll tell you some
Anyways.
stuff about this after we're done.
Okay. But I will press on. I will. Should I go on to the next question? Actually, next question is also very big and loaded. So I just want to actually stick to Varun and talk about the poster image of this live stream, essentially.
No, I mean, I just watched. I was just bored one evening, and I was like, I just want to rewatch something instead of watching a film for the first time. And Hot Fuzz is just such a delight. You can just put it on and forget about stuff.
कभी कभी वरुण सही बात भी बोलता है. ये एक बार वो डेफिनेटली बात है.
Once in a while.
The thing is that it's such a rewarding film for a film buff.
अरे
If you are
it's the
interested
film.
in
it's the film after which I just find most comedies lazy, which is the problem of that film also, because that film is
World's End
so
doesn't hold
jam
so as
packed.
well with you guys.
Huh?
No, what?
World's End doesn't hold as well.
I'm not the
I think
biggest worlds
I want
in
to
compared to
rewatch
the
it.
other two,
I
I
other
like
think I can
three.
watch.
Other two. I don't think so. But
I think I
but
can
then
watch
I
both
like
of them at any point.
I
World's End
actually
also
like
I really
all
like.
of Edgar Wright's work apart from A Fistful of Fingers.
Apart from what?
Fistful of
same,
Fistful of
same. Wo
Fingers मैंने
first
वो
wali.
देखा.
Same, like I'm less
Soho?
keen on Soho, but I don't love it, but I don't have a particular dislike for it. I think it's not a good horror film, but it's a very stylishly made film, if that makes sense. So
It's his show is also super nice. Huh? Spaced, very nice show.
spaced.
अच्छा, that's the point.
It's on
No,
Yeah.
so
Prime
I
now.
think one thing I realized last year when I was rewatching it for the first time was when towards the end of the film, Nick Frost and Simon Pegg are standing with at the exit of Sanford. They're lit in red, right?
Yeah.
And Peg is going off about stuff, and Frost just says, "Forget it." What's his name in the film? I've forgotten. Forget it, Nicholas.
Um,
It's Sanford.
oh, it's
And
like the Chinatown reference.
yeah,
Yeah.
Chinatown reference. Huh?
Yes.
James Bond, dude. Like James Bond गाड़ी
Yeah.
नहीं चलाता
Timothy
उसको
Dalton. Yes.
उसको कोई
Yes.
और
Yes.
गाड़ी चलाकर दे रहा है. Then there's that
Yes.
great shot of Timothy Dalton when you meet him in his office for the first time, when you see him in his
Oh,
office for the first
it's
time.
the same
He
portrait
turns, he's
image,
smiling, and उसके पीछे portrait है employee of the
portrait
family.
with the same pose.
It's a great shot, dude. It's so good.
Have
It's,
you
I think,
seen
a
the making of
combination.
Hot Fuzz?
I mean, no,
No.
I haven't seen
You
it. I've seen
should.
it bits
I've
and pieces a
seen.
little bit.
I went crazy when at that like earlier time when I was watching around 2015 or 2016. I was watching a lot of Edgar Wright. I mean, I started watching Edgar Wright,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then I went on a binge of how he writes and how they wrote Hot Fuzz especially.
I mean, he's not the sole writer. Simon Pegg and Nick Frost are
Simon
also
Pegg.
Simon Pegg, yeah,
collaborators.
like
Huh.
it's a
No, just
whole,
Simon
it's the
Pegg. No Nick
team, right?
Frost.
Just Simon Pegg, sorry, yeah.
But I mean, of course, Frost was contributing as a
No,
Of course.
but yeah,
major.
but I feel there's a difference in the writing that Edgar Wright has with Simon Pegg, and then the writing Edgar Wright has with himself. Like, there's a marked distinction, I feel, in it's also the American UK distinction also in some senses, of course.
American UK distinction is more apt, I would
In
say.
a Scott Pilgrim or Baby Driver, but in something like Last Night in Soho, why he's decided to suck out all the humor of it, I have no idea. But apart from that, whatever he's done,
I
like
think
I
that's
mean,
also sign of it's also sign somewhere of aging in a way that you want to go for a slightly serious one.
but World's End is a
Sometimes-
great capping off of that
Yeah.
trilogy of that. It's a
Yeah,
properly
yeah.
mature.
But
But
that's
I don't even think Shaun of the Dead is not mature. Shaun of the Dead has some incredibly great emotional beats,
I
later,
love the
especially
line
towards the end
where,
of
like,
it.
Nick Frost has turned into a zombie and he's changed.
Yeah.
But
And he goes and
actually,
plays, like, just plays PlayStation with him because he says, buddy. No,
At
but
the
I
end,
actually
yeah,
think some of there's a sequence in Shaun of the Dead where he has to shoot his mother. And it's a genuinely, like, emotional sequence. You have
Moral
to,
dilemma, yeah.
kill someone who you love, and then that sort of then becomes a very like a moment in which he grows.
Yeah.
Also, so I think that
Coming of age. Yeah.
Hot Fuzz in that sense is probably his least serious work, but then I've consistently mentioned the amount I laugh in this film is like second to none, essentially. Like I was just like the consistency with which this film moves in its sort of conviction of making you laugh, and not just like silly gags. It's like smart visual gags like they're flying out of
Bhari hui
out of every frame,
Every
frame.
second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, if you're making a comedy, and I've seen this comedy in which the filmmaker is putting this much effort, and not in terms of effort to make you laugh, making it effortlessly funny also, right? That's the big thing sometimes. Like there's oh my god, the sequence with Kate Blanchett is so good. When she's when he goes and basically breaks
I
up,
don't
little breaks up. Yeah. So it's like,
and Peter Jackson in the Santa Claus suit, which you
Yes,
only
yes, yes.
later realize by the eyes that it's Peter Jackson.
Through the hand.
But yeah,
actually,
I'll
a film
post
I
the
really
link of
liked
the
was-
writing process. You should watch
yes,
it.
yes.
It's in the
Post it in the
film I
comments here. Yeah.
really liked, aside from Hot Fuzz, was Peter Weir's Witness, which is
I don't know.
I actually stumbled upon it when I was watching this documentary called Timeless Heroes: Indiana Jones and Harrison Ford
Sure.
by Lauren Buzero. And in that, Harrison Ford was talking about the film's he has enjoyed making as an actor.
Sure.
And he talked
Hmm.
about Witness for a fair bit. And so he
Hmm.
plays a police officer, and he goes into this Amish community in Pennsylvania to protect this kid, played by like an 8-year-old Lucas Haas, which is very funny because Lucas Haas's face has not changed in the 30 years
Wow.
since. Looks the
Okay.
same.
Hmm.
So, and about how this community that's not modernized in any way, it's very interesting.
Okay.
And it's very moving actually how Peter Weir and it's Maurice Jarre who's composed the music. How
Hmm.
they just marry visual and music, and that's so much of the film is that more than
Hmm.
anything else.
Hmm. No,
Great,
fair
great
enough.
film.
I mean, that's a great. You have mentioned it to us many a time, so yeah, we will. I will watch it. Sanjeet is also leaving us, so Varun, it's upon like we were practicing this on the chat essentially, how to play off each other without wanting to kill each other. So that will be coming into test right now. But thank you, Sanjeet. I will see you
अरे
on
अपने को
Thursday.
नया लापता पोस्टर डालना पड़ेगा.
नहीं नहीं छोड़ दो आ गया वीक पर बट यस थर्सडे को मिलते हैं सर बाय इम्तियाज अली की प्रेपरेशन कर
Come
लो
prepared for Imtiaz.
lol.
आप चलो
नहीं
ओके
मैं निकलूंगा तो स्ट्रीम बंद तो नहीं होगा ना?
नहीं नहीं नहीं
नहीं नहीं
होपफुली
ध्रुव के एंड से चल रहा
होपफुली
है ना stream तो.
इंशाल्लाह.
या हाँ hopefully anyways yes so
हाँ
we can move on to the next questions whatever we have left. Sanket asked me मुझे कब बुलाओगे which I have answered to him in private.
हाँ
We are convening I think on the 22nd as of now for the live stream.
yes.
uh, yes. Um, but no, we have convened on the 22nd. I don't know if Varun is also penned in to come for that as of now, but we are not sure. We will see what happens. But most likely, we'll be discussing The Old Oak by
Uncanny
Ken
Valley.
Loach and RMN by Christian Monjui. So basically, two films on xenophobia and how that sort of a thing which erodes human values essentially, which are whatever is left of us, that is. Anyways, the fourth and fifth and sixth questions are very interesting. So fourth one is by Truly Debulina. She's I think she
Develina
came
Basu.
onto the
Yes,
Basu
she was.
on the chat last time also. So her question is very interesting. We've sort of not addressed this explicitly, but we have an episode in which we were talking about Asghar Farhadi and the sort of claims leveled against him of plagiarism, and then everything sort of went down from there. And it's basically the art versus artist debate, and she asks what are our thoughts on it. So whoever is still watching the live stream, we'd love to know your thoughts,
Yeah,
because
please chime in.
I think there's a great argument to be made on if those are the two things you should conflate or you shouldn't conflate. But Varun, I'll let you go first.
Hmm.
And I'll talk about mine briefly, but I'll also just tell you that we did explicitly talk about this a lot in that art versus art. It's called, I think, the art, the artist, and the audience. Our episode is called that. So it's about how all these things sort of
Yeah.
are, consistently in conversation with each other in a way which I think it depends on people how productive they think that actually is. But yes, go ahead.
So my view is that if you're acquainted with someone's wrongdoing beforehand, before you watch their films, then that will 100% influence the way you read that film. So
Sure.
uh, I'll just take Polanski as an example. I know it's
Yeah.
lazy, but
Hmm.
it's an example I am very clearly in the know of.
Yeah, yeah.
And of course, Roman Polanski has raped a child back in the
Hmm.
70s.
Hmm.
She was, I think, 13. He was in his mid 40s or something like that.
Yeah.
And this was 77. Yeah. So a pivotal plot point, spoilers for Chinatown, plot
Hmm.
point of Chinatown is, of course, incest, but also pedophilia. And it becomes
Hmm.
very difficult to read that film
Yes.
in separation at all from what he did.
Yeah.
Because as early as the time Chinatown was being made, there were rumors about the age preference Polanski
Hmm.
had for his sexual partners, and that
Hmm.
it tended to be short of California's age of consent in general.
Hmm.
And I find it very difficult to reconcile the filmmaker independent of that. And the cultural problem is that for the longest time, people were happy to support Polanski. People were happy to support. I've forgotten the name of the
He's gotten
director.
public support a lot
A
throughout.
lot, yeah. And as
Yes.
recently
Yeah.
as 2010, when the Swiss arrested him, and there
Hmm.
was Scorsese supported him, and Guillermo del Toro
Hmm.
supported him,
Hmm.
and bunch of people really. And
Hmm.
it wasn't until the Me Too movement happened and people were really forced to examine how they look at this stuff that
Hmm.
they reconsidered it.
Yeah.
But
Still making
I
movies. So,
and they're bombing left, right, and center. He's apparently no longer a
well,
good director also. So
yeah.
it's kind of that problem's finally caught up with him. And he's
Yes.
old.
Yeah.
I mean, let's give him that.
Hmm.
He's an old
Yeah.
man.
Hmm.
Similar to how Vikas Behl's Shaitan can't really be read independent
Hmm.
of the allegations against him. Stuff like
Hmm.
that. So I'm if I don't know about a filmmaker and you tell me later that,
Hmm.
then maybe I'll reevaluate how I see their films
Hmm.
in terms of the content itself.
Sure.
Will that make me stop watching their stuff? No, I read a lot of writers who are problematic people. I
Sure.
can hardly expect people who lived in the 19th and 20th centuries to be
Yes.
as progressive as people are today.
Sure.
So but yeah, I think personal morality does play a part somewhere in how we
Sure.
read a lot.
So I think Chris Patrick is okay. My perspective on art was colored by the fact that queerphobia and Islamophobia are pretty rampant. So in a way, I've gotten desensitized to it, but it definitely depends. I mean, it's sad in a sense that we have like you have to and we have to you have to specifically in this case go through the process of where you do desensitize yourself to these things, which is probably not, is not probably, it shouldn't be the case. And
Yeah,
I think I think my take on this is I firstly think you can't separate those two, art and artist, especially in the case when you are attributing someone as an auteur. If you say they are, they have a distinctive visual style, they are distinctively making films in their own,
yeah,
ways. You can't separate those two when it comes to then talking about their personal moralities and all that. So
yeah,
my thing basically now has become that I've seen some Woody Allen films before without being cognizant about what all was going down with him and what is still like, it's still something which is I've not followed like beat by beat or anyways, but in any way. But I am just like, there's just so many other filmmakers to watch. I'm not gonna put in my
yeah,
effort now to watch other stuff. Does that mean I don't like some of his other stuff from before? No, I still like it. I'm
yeah,
a big fan of something like Midnight in Paris. I think it's lovely. Like to me, it works a lot, a lot. And other films
yeah,
also, whichever he's made, like whichever some of them I've liked, some of them I've not liked. But I am slightly apprehensive now to just go ahead and put on his movie. I'm like, at this point, I have the choice of putting that on versus putting on another movie. I would put on the other movie. So it's that, I think, simple for me in that sense. It becomes
yeah,
very tricky, of course, when, for example, you know like I'm a huge fan of Terrence Malick. By like, if there comes news,
hmm,
I'm not sure, of course, but if there is now a case to be made against him, I will be particularly heartbroken. In the sense
yeah,
that I did invest a lot in your filmography slash you as a
yeah,
filmmaker, that now I do feel heartbroken in a sense that I will have to go and reevaluate some of the work that you have done. Reevaluate not in terms of me liking it or not. I will continue to like it. It's not like I can make myself dislike a work, right? I think
yeah.
it's this whole idea that I will be watching it from another lens now, which is not maybe as pure as I thought I was watching it from.
I think, and you
But
also tend to judge the intention after a point, right? So, for
sure.
instance, with Raj Kapoor,
Hmm.
the allegations aren't allegations of abuse so much as they are of a certain level of creepiness or a general sense of harassment, even, right?
Hmm.
But then you can see it in how he picturizes women, in
Yes.
how Simi Garewal is shot in Mera Naam Joker,
Sure.
or how
Hmm.
Vaijayanti Mala is shot in Sangam.
Hmm.
I think Zinat Aman and Satyam Shivam Sundaram.
Mm-hmm.
It does bleed into that.
Mm-hmm.
Something like, I know when Sajid Khan's comeback film was announced and suddenly it was all
Mm-hmm.
over the place. I think that was
Mm-hmm.
particularly cruel to the people who had suffered at his hands, because the
Mm-hmm.
production company backing that production house was very cheekily called Guilty by Association Films or something like that. And
Mm-hmm.
that sort of really raises my
No,
hackles, because I'm like, you're getting away
it's
with
the
it
what you
in a
said about the
context.
Chinatown thing. No, like I think it
Yeah,
is like I think because I had seen it before knowing
yeah,
the particulars of it, me knowing the particulars of it makes the film even more disturbing in a way which I find effective of its portrayal of the world and the world it's inhabiting, because I have seen it. Like, that's the tricky situation when you've watched a film before knowing something and then you know something and then you watch it again. Then
right.
the thing is that you still, in a way, I watched whatever 2 3 Polanski films, and whatever Polanski's work I have watched, I have really liked as a film. Like, I think he's a freaking good director in terms of
Yeah,
putting the images and all together, right? So, but again, it's the same case. Now, do I want to seek out watching another Polanski film? And I'm just like,
yeah.
again, too many directors. I like that's the excuse I make up in
And
my
I'd rather
head at
watch a
least.
mediocre director who tried his best at some level than waste my time on a person who's willfully guilty and flaunts it around. Right?
Yes, of
Polanski
course.
not once defended himself from the allegation. He just says, I don't believe it was rape. That's
Sure.
not something that's up for conversation.
Sure.
That was a child. On the other
Yeah.
hand, there's something like more minor, right? Vinod Khanna going and joining Rajneesh's commune in first going and joining Rajneesh in Pune
Yeah.
and then going and joining the commune in the US. Do I connect Vinod Khanna to Rajneesh and the biological terror attack in Oregon? No, because how do I hold Vinod Khanna accountable for it?
Yeah.
He
Hey, I mean,
make
it's to do with something like Farhadi's plagiarism claim also. Like, I know, like, of course it tarnishes it a little bit, but then I'm also like, firstly, I'm just like, I think we discussed in that episode saying that just put the other person's name. It doesn't make a difference. If you're just taking someone else, just put their name, and you are eventually you are adapting it, right? It's not like you are like it is his filmmaking, so he can't steal, right? He is doing the filmmaking. So I'm like, I'm less, uh, like I'm gonna watch a Farhadi film. Like when it comes out, I'll be still like full on, ठीक है plagiarism का case है, but I feel that I attribute more to his ego being of an artist who's, again, it's the level severity of the charges, as you said, which also makes a big difference.
yeah,
Sorry, I just need to put some of the comments that Chris Patrick has put out here. Sure. So I think the J.K. Rowling thing has also been a big thing, right?
yeah.
Since
So
whenever.
I used to read her until 2020,
Okay.
and then I was like, okay, not only she's sort of feeding the fire clearly. I mean, she is a exclusionary radical feminist and all that, and she is very deliberately attempting to fan the flames of
Sure.
an argument that is very impassioned. And I, for one, do not know where I would land up on it. But
Sure.
I do believe that it is not her headache to decide, or it's not, she really doesn't have the right to decide who gets to
Sure.
be, who doesn't get to be, or
Sure.
identify as a certain gender, or whatever, right? So, and then her writing just got really bad. And I was like,
Okay.
if I were to write like a 900-page mystery novel, I don't have the patience for this.
Sure.
That
Got
too,
it.
like, it
Yeah.
was like a people are canceling me, so I'll write about cancel culture. I'm like, you're one of the most successful writers who have lived ever in her lifetime.
Yeah.
You're not successful when you're dead, you're successful when you're alive. Don't
Yeah.
come at me with this shit.
Yeah, and I feel that's also interesting to say, or like important to say in a sense that, and this also links back to something about when we talked about Shaitan. Like, of course, I'm not fond of the fact that the guy is making films,
Absolutely.
Vikas Behel, but my primary critique is not about the fact that he is making that film. It is that he is making that film very badly. I think that's, as you said also about the J.K. Rowling thing, like the writing got bad. When I watch something like Shaitan, it's not that I'm going to dislike it because it's directed by Vikas Behel. I, of course,
Yeah.
will have a slightly defensive attitude towards it because, well, I've liked Queen, but apart from that, I've also not liked whatever
Yeah.
else I've
Whatever
seen
else he did.
of Edith Chandar, which is awful.
And Goodbye,
So,
whatever.
and which one?
Amitabh Bachchan, Rashmika Mandana, Neena Gupta.
Oh, I've not seen that. But anyways, like I think people should also be cognizant about the fact that you can critique an artist also for their bad art, like not for being a bad human artist. Like,
Yeah.
you can be critical of how badly they can actually make a film also.
Yeah.
So I think
And
that
whether
separation
they're
is
using
sort
their
of.
filmmaking as a means to acquit themselves, where a J.K.
Hmm.
Rowling is doing that, a Vikas Bell is doing that, look at
Yeah.
this movie I made about saving women. But you're the kind of person women need to be saved from. So
Yes.
exactly what
Exactly.
gives away.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like
Funny
I would
enough, say. I'm just reading. Yeah.
so someone like a Shakun Batra and his admiration for Osho,
Oh
I do
yeah.
find that a little difficult to live with. And like
Hmm.
in today's day of knowledge and
Well, his
accessibility,
admiration also Woody Allen is also there, but yes.
that too. Yeah. So it's kind of and the reverential way in which people uh in which he talks about Osho is kind of ridiculous.
Hmm.
Because I mean this is my opinion entirely. Osho ashram people
Hmm.
are very annoying. As
Hmm.
someone who's lived in Pune, they can be really insufferable if you see them. So I'm like, what is so great about them?
Hmm.
And the man was accused of poisoning a town's water facility. I mean, come on. We're not talking about some man who pinched somebody's pocket. Heaven's sakes. 100 रुपए लेकर नहीं भागा था वो.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
but I
just
feel
think that
the
is the book.
okay. So yes, I mean, I
Santa
feel
Patricia.
it's yeah, yeah, but I feel it's yeah. I mean, I just think generally good filmmakers are the ones who are curious and rather than being curious in a sense that curious about stuff they like also,
Yeah.
like curiosity entails a certain form of questioning. It's not
Questioning
just key you have to
skepticism.
and that's what makes something interesting. No, why would you just go and झंडा ले रहा हो, वो तो कर ही रहे हैं सारे filmmakers वैसे भी यहाँ पे.
You put it a lot more eloquently than I would have.
What?
Why do you want to fillet that filmmaker? For no rhyme
Oh
or
my God.
which is what Chakun does to Woody Allen.
Oh God. Oh, yeah, I mean, even the two people who made a movie on Kagas Ke Phool, uh, they also
But I
do
mean, they're
that.
not
So
accused of a crime, so I mean, and Gurudat wasn't a criminal
I mean, so again, that's the whole thing. I think that's one of the things. I know I do it very, like, facetiously in some way, but I was like, so it's almost like a miracle happens sometimes or whatever happens, but everything pre Sanju is pre those allegations in some miraculous universe, and so in my head at least a lot of it's, of course, I'm not attributing the films to being that bad to his sexual allegations, but for me it definitely tarnishes, and I think he's not the best female character writer in any case. I even before this, like, I think his strongest female characters are in Munna Bhai films, but I think in general those films are uh, also using the female character in a very normal standard way. Like, they are not
Yeah.
particularly revolutionary in the use of them, but I don't think I think they are pretty romantic in without being the creepy thing which you would associate with, I suppose, when you get into this stuff. But all of them are and again, let's not forget that these are not, or at least the later films are also not just written by him. They're also written by Varun's favorite writer, Abhijat Joshi. So yeah, so I mean, I think that sort of, like, to me, I will not stop watching those films. But of course, now if I notice something which is mildly questionable even about the female character's ka portrayal, and that is there actually in Munna Bhai MBBS. That is there a fair bit. It is quite sexist at some points, in terms of actually how
It
it
is. I
objective.
mean, that
Now
whole
that I remember,
it becomes so
I
much
still
worse in
okay.
light of the Irani allegations. You know,
Yes, yes, that is true. That is very true. Like again, like that speech sort of becomes, but then at least to my head, that maybe I've been in an engineering environment and I know how this sort of thing flies. So I'm also like, this
there
is
are two
not
popat
surprising
wala.
to me. Like it's not a surprising thing that someone will, and I can affirm that people in engineering school are much worse in how they talk about women. So,
Oh yeah,
just
definitely.
to, yeah. So, I mean, it's for that I think is more quote unquote contextual, like I can contextualize it better. But in Munna by MBBS, there's the whole thing with the hooker, who comes, and actually you don't remember, but the hooker is supposed to basically give Zahir, which is Jimmy Shergill's character, a lease of life, essentially. And I was like, I'm not sure that happens, that will fly. And it's also just, and then there's this song, where it's basically like he's helping someone to get over their girlfriend. Like the person tried to commit suicide because his girlfriend left him, and he's trying. It's basically a song in which, um, they are basically talking about how if one ladki goes, the other one will come, like a bus depot, like is like like bus depot पे जैसे buses आती हैं वैसे, which is which is a crass thing already
Who
made
said
very
that?
popular by a lot of Bollywood films. No, but I feel those moments do stick out. Like that's what I'm saying. Like
Sanju,
not.
I mean, Sanju is blatantly sexist.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, the subject is sexist, so, but
It's yes, Chris. It's the Aishwarya Ai or something song. I forgot. I think I forgot.
I'm not expecting better. Like it's
I
yeah.
mean, Varun is probably on better ground. Like he's well covered here, considering he doesn't like anything Irani. So, uh,
I don't jive with the guy's sense of humor. That's one. But
hmm,
in light of the allegations, Sanju and its treatment of women is just appalling. Like the
hmm,
mother is just that poojne ke liye mother figure. The wife is
so
just a
Manisha
bystander
Koirala's
who is
yes.
looking, in the most stoic of Diya Mirza expressions. She's just
Hmm,
looking like that at all times. I'm like, man, the way it treats Karishma Tanna's character, the way it treats Sonam Kapoor's character, even to some degree,
hmm,
it's just, I'm like, man, sure, tell me he's sexist. I know. I mean, I've seen that freaking
hmm,
ad in which he's telling people all that nonsense, right? But for heaven's sakes, don't side with him on it.
hmm.
Hold him
Yeah,
to some degree accountable.
yeah.
But no,
No, fair enough. I think, Chris,
I
anything,
think that
sorry, I don't
yeah,
are you disagreeing with what I have said, what we have said? I just want clarification, and then we'll move on from this because there are other questions to address also. I will move on, but if you comment, I'll get back to it.
yeah.
The fifth question is by Gursimran, if he is still here. If not here, I'm not sure, but he asked this today only. What do you guys think of Dibakar Banerjee's cinema? Okay. So he's saying no, no. I meant about Hirani. I agree with you all. Okay, so I think just it's the idea in how he
Yeah.
portrays कि कैसे how you get over. Yeah, yeah. But if you see Munna Bhai MBBS, that sort of stuff definitely sticks out. And I think it's much less prevalent in something like Lage Rao Munna Bhai for that matter. It's something like I feel Lage Rao Munna Bhai actually is one of his best works, if not his best work.
Probably his best
Uh,
film.
yeah. But anyways, I think yeah. What do you think of this? Is may also in light of LSD 2's trailer, I suppose, coming and the film coming out in about 11 days. I
10
doubt
days.
it'll release in Dubai, so I'm very
It's
unhappy
going to
about
get
that.
censored here also. I mean, come
No,
on.
no, yeah, I'm not about to say. I don't think it'll get a release only here. Uh, Maybe because, but I'm sad because I'm a big Dibakar Banerjee fan. Uh, Dibakar Banerjee film fan. Let's just like films
Yeah,
whatever
because
he's
we're
made.
already toying around with around the
The art
art thing.
artist thingy.
Yeah.
Yes.
So We
Um,
want to make it clear that we're talking about Banerjee's films and not about.
Films,
We don't know
yes.
him as a person. Yes.
Yes, but his films I'm a big fan of. Whatever I've seen, I will probably be rewatching some of his work. I want to revisit some of it. But yeah, Varun, let's start with you. What all have you seen? What
He's
all
an
do you like?
interesting. I like all of it actually. Whatever I've watched,
Okay,
I think I've watched
yeah.
3 films, or 4 if you count the Last Story short.
Count
Which
the shots. Count the shots.
yeah. So I watched that. I
Hmm.
watched Sandeep or Pinky, of course. Detective
Hmm.
Byomkesh Bakshi. What else has he done? Oi Lucky Lucky Oi.
Khosla ka Hosla?
I've not watched Khosla. I've not watched Shanghai. I've not watched.
Really, Khosla ka Hosla is so good.
I
Like if
think
you
it's because
want,
we are
this
living
will
in
also
this time,
link
right?
to the question your mom asked. Actually,
The comedy one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I quite like him as a filmmaker. I think the
Hmm.
thing is that he's sort of a better idea of what Kashyap wants to be, in the
Sure.
sense that he's trying to talk about a social situation but manages to bake it into an actual narrative.
Hmm.
So, for instance, Byomkesh Bakshi is, of course, going for the more genre elements, the graphic novel stuff.
Sure. Hmm.
But it's also talking about women in society and how they function in 40s India. And
Hmm.
on some level, it's also talking about politics in pre-independence India. But
Hmm.
it's talking about something like gang wars in that time, and it's
Hmm.
baking all of that into a mystery narrative, which is very interesting.
Hmm.
The mystery
Hmm.
itself is a bit kacha because
Hmm.
unlike Neeraj Kabi, I'm supposed to buy as a Chinese gang lord. What gives
I
away
need to
all?
rewatch. I need to rewatch Beyonce, but I do remember it looking absolutely
Oh, it's
astonishingly good.
fantastic. I mean, like
Hmm.
Nico Santic is on camera over there.
Hmm.
It's just a spectacular looking film.
Hmm.
Sandeep or Pinky, I actually like quite a bit.
Oh, I really like Sandeep
It's
Pinky.
a
It's
very
so good,
unusual
and
film.
it's also just again. I always thought Parinti Chopra was pretty good, and it's a
As
good
an
demonstration of her
actor,
being back to form for maybe just one movie. But
one,
I was like,
and
where
we'll know
is
in like
this
5
version?
days.
Ah, yeah, we
We'll know in
will. Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah. Yeah.
think what Sandeep or Pinky is going for and what it's succeeding in is really Dibakar as a director and how he uses his actors and his
Hmm.
milieu. So you can never. The great thing about that film is that even when it's a scene between a Raghuveer Yadav, who is probably among the best actors this country has ever
Hmm.
produced,
Hmm.
and Arjun Kapoor, who's probably among the worst actors this
Worst.
country has produced,
Yes.
you can't tell the difference between their acting ability
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
he has directed them in a certain manner. So Raghuveer Yadav is still performing to his impeccable level, but the
Yeah.
character that Kapoor is playing it has been molded so well
Hmm.
that you can't tell whether he is underplaying it or he doesn't know how to
Yeah.
act. So the
I mean, this is
great thing,
by far and away his best performance, and I mean, just simply, I think, based on even just like that movie, I went. So this is this. I have a more bigger connection, I suppose, with the film is that that's the first film I watched after COVID in the cinema. So it
oh,
released
you
for a
were very
week.
lucky.
I watched it
My
in
my
Dubai only. So
my first film after COVID in cinemas was Bell Bottom.
इसीलिए आप
I
गुस्सा घूमते हो सर हर जगह मुझसे ज्यादा.
well, I also got to watch
Anyway,
Sardar Udham on a big screen. So
oh yeah,
like
that's true. Yeah. No, but Sandeep or Pinky Farrar is just a really, really good film. Like that's the sort of film
yeah,
I want that type of film to do well. Like, I want that type of film to like it's a solid heist film with actual characters and actual stakes. I'm just like, come on, like how can we
ending
and
was
it's
not
about a
there.
lot of other things.
The
But it's also
ending
about
was not
so
so
many.
successful.
It's not. It's not. But it's about so much things. Just like I guess capitalism is one of the big things in it. But of
Yeah,
course, gender
yeah.
roles. So like
Siddharth
again,
Goyal
he's
is
do
terrific in that one scene.
yes in that one sequence. I mean, the
The
Parinditi Chopra's scream of despair after this quiet build-up of tension is so effective. I'm just like. It's good, like not good is actually undermining it. It's great filmmaking in that film. It's full of that. So I feel
yeah,
that's the big
and I
draw
think to
of.
me it was also a bit of film trivia because the bridge they are about to cross, the footover bridge over the river, is where if you think back, Abhishek Bachchan and Rani Mukherjee come running during the Bunty or Bubbly time
Bunty or
trial.
bubbly? Nice. Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right?
Interesting.
It's in that sense, it's also a bit of a
It's
tribute
also
because
the high
Yashraj is
playing
own.
on that. Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes, yeah,
and it was yes.
yeah.
This was actually a film
Oh, they
Yashraj
were
produced as
really
a.
bad about it.
They were bad about it, sure. It was also one
Yeah.
of the rare instances where they were serving as a studio and not as the production company. So
Yes.
they had basically put down the money on it, and Debakar went and produced it himself. And
Hmm.
I thought that was an interesting direction to go in, and then they just completely fumbled the release.
Yeah.
But I can't help but say this. Debakar does have this tendency to go and badmouth people an awful lot. Him and
I
Kashyap
mean,
both have
yeah.
this habit.
Hmm.
Nobody's going to want to back you if you are going constantly badmouthing them in public.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Him
Fair
and
enough.
Kanu Bell did that after Titli also. It was a bit
Sure.
weird.
Hmm. Yeah.
And he still got to
But
make this.
yeah, I mean वो तो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट होगा ना सर, अलग से पैसे नहीं देने
People
पड़ेंगे. हाँ, but no, I feel you get something like this. I mean, I want to rewatch Oye Lucky Lucky Oye and what's that other film which we said, Shanghai. Shanghai
Shanghai.
also I think is very interesting as a film.
Shanghai
It's
is a
that's
remake,
very
I think.
much a
First part
remake or
is
by Z by
yeah.
Costas Gravas, I think. So which is a political thriller which will not fly today at all. Like it won't get made.
Hmm.
It's that sort of film.
I mean, Debakar is
So
already in that boat.
but I feel actually he's like he's the one who's had the best films in the short films also for me or
Yeah,
whatever I've seen. And I'm just the biggest fan of Love Sex or Dhokha, the first one. I think it's
hmm.
just
I haven't watched
sensationally
that.
good. I think it's the perfect, like that's when you were talking about how he knows how to marry narratives and message doing and all the
Yeah,
themes and whatever he's talking
there's an
about.
honor killing thing and sex
There,
thing
yeah,
going
yeah,
on.
yeah, yeah. But the honor killing thing is baked into a Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge style
Yeah,
romance, So it's like it's working on those really great levels. It's providing you with these absolutely sometimes sleazy, sometimes over the top characters, and it's shot in like this really cheap way because it is about when the digital camera sort of uh,
exploding.
surveillance camera essentially became a big thing in India, and sort of it's tapping into that voyeurism in many senses, but it's also using it in a way which is fantastic, and the way it's
He's basically Brian De Palma 40 years later.
yes, yes, but he's not as leery, at least in his filmmaking
Yeah,
as Brian De Palma, because Brian De Palma is very leery in his
very.
filmmaking. So I've only watched LSD and Bombay Talkie Short, and you should watch most of his things. I think, Chris. I think he's a really
I think
great
start with
director.
Byomkesh actually because it's an easy way to get into his films. It's a
I mean, I would
premise.
say start with Khosla Ka Khosla. I
I mean,
think it's
that's a
very
combination.
amicable.
Even Oya Lucky Lucky
So
very
yeah,
easy.
like all of his films are very like they're not like LSD is probably not easy to watch for everyone because
Yeah,
it looks grungy and it is grimy, and when it wants to get nasty, it gets nasty. Because that's the sort of thing that template allows you to
yeah.
get, which I feel is what he will go with in something like LSD 2 even. I would assume so. But his other films, like the ones which are sort of UA or U actually, like a
Yeah.
Ghosla is U for that matter, they're just really good,
And
entertaining
we need
films.
Paresh Rawal's in Oye Lucky
Oh,
Lucky. It's just such a great trick
yes.
because they're just
I mean,
one iteration of the other.
yes,
Great.
yes, they are, I think. But I feel that's the like he's one of those good like when people then go and tell you like why is Bollywood not making good films, but then none of these films actually did that well. Like it's like they
So,
are
okay, but like Oye Lucky Lucky Oye had the misfortune of releasing 2 days after 26/11. It
26/11.
was
Yeah,
never going to do well. It was just
sure.
completely shut down, right? Bombay was
Yeah.
closed completely.
Hmm.
Nobody's in the mood to watch a movie. By the time
Hmm.
people are up and sort of, okay, we'll go to the theaters, I
Hmm.
think Rabne Maradi Jodi had already come into cinemas. And
That
they
was the
quite,
first film that did well after 26/11. I think. Right.
yeah, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Hmm.
That and Gajni.
Imagine disparity.
I mean, yeah.
आपने तो दोनों आपने एटलीस्ट एक
In
जो अच्छी वाली तो देखी नहीं है.
both movies in which women don't recognize their lovers.
There is a perfectly good rationale for that in Rabne Manadi Jodi. So, but okay, fine. Someday we will argue about that also, but
But
not
I
today
think
is
we're
not the
done.
day. No, you
Aditya
refuse to talk
Chopra, I would
about
not
the
recognize. I wouldn't recognize Aditya Chopra without a mustache for sure. Like, you can't.
गजनी बोल के कोर मेमोरी अनलॉक करती है.
अदनंगा
That's
आमिर नाच रहा है कहीं पे
no
sitting at home.
memory, core memory also, no?
Oh,
Unlocked.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yes. आपकी मेमोरी को क्या हो गया सर?
So, sir, I have not
You
actually watched Ghazni. It was too violent for me.
Gajni has a very good first half. And by a very good first half means the romance between both of them is quite nice.
I find Asin very irritating as an actor.
Really? I think Asin is lovely in that film. But then after that, it becomes like horribly bad. Like it becomes like that really
I mean,
extra
I would watch
violent
it only
thing.
because
सबको.
Deva from Lagan is the actual Ghazni. Pradeep Rawat.
उसका
The
कुछ अच्छा रोल
Sardar
नहीं है.
from Lagan is the villain in this one.
Our Bollywood pages are same, Chris.
आप लोग को
Varun is
ready
on a
भी अच्छी
different
लगी
page.
होगी.
I love Asin in that film, not in
अच्छा, ready
Ready.
and not in ready.
No, not ready for Ready. Yes.
Even
Anyways,
the
I think
poster, Salman Khan doing some weird thing with his hand, and the poster was just Salman Khan is ready.
I'm
Like,
sorry,
what?
Chris. I will disagree that Dhoom 3 is very funny.
Very watchable,
Sorry.
okay? It's about people taking
It's-
personally the fact that the bank wants its money back.
I think it's hilarious. I was watching it with a cousin and we were legitimately having the time of our life. We were just like, what kind of, like, this is
Dude, you should have done this in
so
America. What they do,
What?
right? Like when you had
क्या
to pay
ski jump वो
नहीं,
जेट स्की को लेके कूदूं मैं.
जब स्टूडेंट लोन रीपे करना था तो बैंक की जगह लूट लिया. मैं क्यों दूं वापस पैसा? लोन लिया तो क्या हुआ?
No, but Dhoom 2 is actually good, no? Like that's what people say.
best
I'm
thing
not
is actually good.
I'm not a Dhoom fan in general, but I find Dhoom 3 funny. Like in the really, it's like so stupid way funny. Like, but anyways, I think
क्या ड्रामा
we'll
चल रहा है यार?
ठीक है. Anyways, we'll move on to your mom's question, Varun, which we can also talk slightly about Khosla Ka Ghosla there because I think that's the sort of
I mean, you will talk about it.
that's true of most Katrina Kaif roles apart from
You
Merry
could also
Christmas.
replace Uday Chopra and Abhishek Bachchan with cardboard cutouts in that movie, to be honest.
Uday Chopra is
And Amir also.
distinctively bad though. Like Katrina Kaif is a non-presence in a movie like that. वो एक गाने के लिए आती है, घूमती है और निकल जाती है like that way.
Liquid electricity. I was studying like 9th standard. What the hell does that mean?
I mean, see, I just recently rewatched Jab Tak Hai Jaan, right? So I know what Chris Patrick means by this. But no, but this makes me even admire Sriram Raghavan more. That's the whole thing where you go, ki, oh my God, आपने तो
Sriram Raghavan
आप
is
तो
surpassed Yash Chopra.
I would argue that he is probably a better director.
Directorial ability.
I've been
Nahin, we will
traumatized
do
from
a
Mohabbat.
Yash Chopra. We do a Yash Chopra 70s.
It's not just him though. It's also Shilpa Shetty's
Jugal
sister.
Hansraj and Shamini
Jugal Hansraj is
Shetty,
not that bad.
Jimmy Shergill.
Jimmy Shergill's good in it though.
Shah Rukh Khan with his sweat.
Listen,
I don't
Mohabbat
know,
hasn't.
his argument with that teacher is तुम इन लोगों को रोमांस नहीं करने दे रहे हो. How is that a problem in school, dude?
अरे sir, Mohabbat hasn't aged well, huh? Like the filmmaking is also not aged well at all. गाने बहुत अच्छे हैं.
Aishwarya is a ghost, right, in that movie? And Shah Rukh
Yes.
के ढोल बजाने आता है होली के टाइम पे. It's just random stuff.
No, Chris Patrick, I also like it. Varun is the spoilsport here. We are Yash Chopra fans. You're not Aditya Chopra fans. I know that Chris Patrick is also a fan of
रब ने
Rabne. Which,
बेफिक्रे फैन भी हो क्या आप क्रिस पैट्रिक?
बेफिक्र fan नहीं है. I don't think
कोई
so.
नहीं है.
At least.
आपसे चोपड़ा भी नहीं है.
अनुपमा चोपड़ा है बस. आपकी
And
employer
Rani
है.
Mukherjee. And Rani Mukherjee.
Oh wow. Yeah. PV को
And
अच्छी लगती है.
Ranveer
Yes.
Singh, of course. I mean,
I
why
haven't
hasn't he
seen
signed
it.
that damn movie? You should.
Okay.
The 20 minutes will want to kill yourself. Make you want to kill yourself.
Because I can't put myself through that. I think, Chris, you've been through Imtiaz Ali's Love Aajkal 2.0. You can put yourself through Befikra. Befikra,
2.0
sir.
मत बोलो उसे. It's the same film.
It's the better film.
2.0
In conception. In conception.
in final product.
Okay. We've not. Okay. Anyways, sixth question by Varun's
Yeah.
mom. So thank you, Auntie, for sending this question. Which is actually a very nice question. I think because also I also am somewhat at a loss to talk about it because I feel I don't watch enough comedies. But anyways, why do we not see enough comedies in Hindi cinema? And I like the next line. I am not referring to the double meaning or the केले के छिलके पे से फिसल जाने वाली comedy. So it's, I think it's the sort of, it's not exactly even sophisticated comedy, but I think it's the balance,
Just
the
good comedy.
satire, good comedy. Yeah.
Just
Like
good
clean
jokes.
comedy also, right? Clean comedy, good comedy, and
Yeah.
which I feel something like Khosla Ka Ghosla actually is a great contender for. It's about like, it's actually about a family being like a middle class, lower middle class family being pitted against like this elitist stockbroker, not
Yeah.
stockbroker, real estate, whatever. He's Khurana. It's Khosla versus Khurana in many senses,
Yeah.
and it's got a pair of impeccably great performances. Baman Irani was on his in his golden era of performances. I feel during
Directing
this
a
time.
film
This
now, I'm
released to
looking forward to.
what really
Yeah.
very interesting. I hope he takes a page out of Main Hoon Na Farha Khan's book, or like Om Shanti, whatever he wants
I
to
would love
choose.
for him to be that principal again, man.
He's so
That
good
is
in that
great comedy.
movie. He is
See that
so
pair
good.
in Om Shanti Om,
Oh
Baman Irani
yes.
in Mehuna, like putting
Again, these
them.
are good comedies also, right? Like these are, I
Yeah,
think,
yeah.
very good comedies.
The thing is that they're writing that scene as a self-sufficient skit without uh, compromising on the unity of the film itself. The principle is
Yeah,
funny, fine, but the film
yeah.
itself is an action movie with
Hmm.
like those very overt Mission Impossible references. ये राम तो रैम्बो निकला and who's that macro man?
Mako Man.
Macro man?
Mako Man. Yes.
You mean macho man? He elbows him. I think
Yes.
Bindu is fantastic again in both
Oh,
the
Bindu.
movies.
So, oh, Bindu has one of the funniest moments in Om Shanti Om. I don't know if I can recall it properly, but there's this moment in the second half where she's the mother of the actress,
The
no,
heroine, yeah.
where, heroine, yeah, yeah, who's playing Shanti essentially in the
Yeah.
new version, and it's basically like he like they go to this haunted place where she takes
Oh
them,
yeah.
right, and he's basically like she's basically I
Always
think
like older women.
and Mehra goes and he comes out super scared and she's like आपने baby को बिना makeup की तो नहीं देख लिया or something like that, like it's like this really funny way
And the
and I
reminder,
Candid, yeah, and I was just like watching it. I was watching it in class, right? In NYU, it was being shown to everyone. Full class, everyone loved it. Everyone loved the whole movie.
yeah.
Me, one of my friends, and our teacher on that joke, we literally could not stop laughing. Like for five, we were just like it's so instinctive, it's so like not try hard, it's like that thing, right? Like she knows how without makeup her daughter looks, so she's probably scared of a lot of people.
Even
So
some of
she
the
just
jokes
says
in
that.
Isma fun, like the whole
Oh yeah.
repartee between Atish Kapoor and his manager Bunty. तुमने डैनी बॉयल को डैनी
It's so actually, yeah. Oh my god, it's so
and
good.
and the funny thing is that when that film came out, I would at that time we were related to the gentleman playing the manager.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, so
Harry
he's the same
Baveja,
dude.
I think
No.
his
He's
name
Vivek
is.
Pandey. In
No,
the
no, in
film,
the
it's
film
called
he's named Harry Baveja.
Bunty Baveja.
Bunty Baveja. My God, we've gone into a Farah Khan
No,
appreciation,
and
whatever
he
thing.
in there was this Amir Khan movie in
Hmm.
1994 or 93. It was called Tum Mere Ho, in
Okay.
which Amir Khan plays this snake charmer dude,
Okay.
and it's hilarious. Sudhir
Okay.
Pandey plays his father.
Yeah.
And he's like doing this chant, "ये नागमणि मुझे चाहिए, ये नागमणि मुझे आज चाहिए." Just Jani Dushman is such a funny comedy. It's
I mean, they don't
ridiculous that
intend to be, but yes.
I mean, the funny thing is that Rajat Bedi and Siddharth Ray
Hmm.
have just tried to rape Manisha Koirala's character. And
Yeah.
this tells you how inept the filmmaking is, right? They've tried to do that.
Hmm.
The cut to Rajat Bedi is getting married, and the people who were like, "तुमने ये कैसे करने की कोशिश की" or whatever, and then convincing Manisha Koirala कि माफ कर दे, they are all going to his wedding as if he's not a rapist, or at least an. I'm like, what? What kind of movie are you making?
Oh
But no, I
God.
think
Okay.
more accurately, I think Bollywood had its good time with the comedies in the 80s. You had your Chashme
Hmm.
Bazoor, you had your. I much
I've
as I
always
have
liked some
problems.
Priyadarshan comedies. I do like time to time.
I think Hera Fairy is funny, but if it's a remake, then it's the kind of it's not. But I do feel like the three of them bring their own twist to it, and like
Hmm.
Om
Oh,
Puri and
Paresh
the
Rawal
Lord
is
of the
just
Village.
too. I'm sorry, but Paresh Rawal
Yeah,
in. I don't know if, like, again, I'm unaware of the. I probably need
yeah.
to watch the Malayalam version, but my God, Paresh Rawal in that role is just
When
hilarious.
they're
And we were
squatting,
talking once. No, but we were talking even in Fir Hera Fairy. He has that one moment with
yeah,
that Balti and the swimming pool, which I'm
yeah,
just
yeah.
like, come on, that's just hilarious. I'm sorry, but like, it is so funny.
No, and
Uh,
when they're squatting by that compound wall, hiding from somebody, and it's sort of like, "Ye kya kar rahe ho? Peshab kar rahe ho tum?" It's just the way he says it, right? I wish Akshay Kumar would go back to doing
Oh,
comedy
Akshay
instead
Kumar
of
as
giving us
like the
South Indian
exasperated slash slight annoyed,
yeah,
you know, कि ये क्या कर रहे हो तुम, like, and he's actually, if people want, the film is extremely sexist and misogynist now, and it's
yeah, like,
2006's Garam Masala,
oh,
uh,
okay. Also Priyadarshini.
but yes, Priyadarshan movie. Skip the next 30, like skip everything after the first 30 minutes, okay, if you want to, because it gets into a properly sort of sexist tirade and everything. My God, Akshay Kumar delivers every line in that first 30 minutes in a way which cracked me up every single time. I was like, oh my God, how good was he when he was
Yeah,
doing this sort of role? I'm just like, it's so sad to not see him in a role like
see
this.
him doing
Like,
that.
not role as in like doing a performance like that at least.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, and I do genuinely feel that even though I've got problems with the film, that Mahabharat sequence of Jane Bhi Do Yaar is
जाने भी दो
just
यार, yes.
it's ridiculous. Satish Shah
Yeah.
is a dead body and they're just roaming around with him, and then they dress him
Satish
in a
Shah
sari.
in Satish Shah in Kal Ho Na Ho also, by the way. I know dirty jokes, but
Oh yeah,
my God, the jokes on Gujjus in
yeah.
that film are so funny.
Aryan Kunal.
Uh, I mean, the whole and hall joke is just. I'm so. I was just like. Satish Shah is like, I find him very funny in general. Sarabhai versus Sarabhai bias is there.
Yeah.
I think
No,
he's
but
great at that.
I think
So
because of Jane Bhi Do Yaar, I also sort of appreciated Nasir's comedic timing because he's like, he just
oh,
randomly
Ishqiya also
opens
he's very
doors.
good at, huh?
I've not watched that. Ishi
You
and
know
Dead
what
Ishki.
Ishqiya? Ishqiya comedy is really good. Both him and Arshad Varsi play off each
Arshad
other
Varsi.
brilliantly. Arshad Varsi is a
It's
great comic actor.
great comic.
Uh,
He's a
yeah,
great actor. Like, I mean,
yep,
anybody who's a good comic actor is generally a very good actor. A
that's true.
dramatic actor may not always be a very good comedian.
Yeah, yeah.
Case
Watch
in point,
Ramji Rao. Okay,
Amir
we
Khan.
will. I think he's hilarious in PK, but okay.
I think he's
Watch
hilarious in Andaz Apna Apna, but he started to take himself very seriously.
PK. में तो I think he's given his best performance, but okay, fine. We can disagree to disagree.
Yeah.
My dad and I watch. Okay, so we will be looking. I'm curious to watch the Malayalam version of. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
even
I mean,
Bhul
we are all
Bhulaiya,
asking this question. Oh, Bhul Bhulaiya, Akshay Kumar is really funny.
him
He's so
chasing after
good.
Rasika Joshi when he just arrives on the scene. देखा मैंने उसको पागल है.
No, all the
And
goti goti
everything
goti
is
goti goti
funny.
is also quite funny.
Yeah, with Jimit Trivedi. It's
Yes.
just I also think like Sriram Raghavan is very funny as a filmmaker.
Hmm.
Rajan DK
Andhadhun,
as
I
that
think, is very funny.
hilarious.
Tabu is absolute. The scene, I'm sorry, I know everyone thinks this is very like twisted and dark. The scene where she's throwing off that old lady of the
Oh yeah,
building.
47
I'm like, the way it's framed is such a comedy, like a comic
yeah,
sequence in the way
and the
she's being
score, the
toppled over.
creativeness of the score in the
Yeah,
movie.
yeah, yeah.
It's and
Just he's
even
actually, yeah, you're right. He's very funny. Yeah.
even Dr. Swami, who's like, मैं तुम्हें kidney दूंगा and this that, and he's just saying it so matter of factly. You're like, yeah, man, this is funny. I
Yeah.
don't get why people, find it or just the stupid jokes in something
When
like
does she
Indian
not, Chris? When does she not? Except for Kutte. That okay,
cinema.
fine.
She steals the show in Crew.
For me, she did, but that's because it's taboo.
There wasn't much
Like
of a
she also
story.
gets, no, she gets some of the best lines also, to be honest.
Uh,
So yeah,
no,
yeah. I told like
I
I
think
wrote that she plays the Babu Rao Ganpati Rao Apte sort of the crew. So
so.
yeah, it's
To my
easy.
mind, I think we don't make good comedies anymore is because
Mm,
very simply we've forgotten to actually be able to laugh at ourselves. Our
mm.
sense of humor is probably the greatest tragedy since 2014. It's the biggest casualty since
This is
2014.
being
Right?
said by two people who are infamously bad at making jokes, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah.
So
But
take it with a
thing
dose
is,
of
yeah.
so
No, but
whatever.
see, if we go back to that Rocky Rani thing, right? If everything is going to finally wind up in a lawsuit, like
Hmm.
imagine Mehuna mein when he is shown to be a forgetful principal, he is reading Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. कल को जेके रोलिंग केस कर दे अगर तुम ऐसा पिक्चर पिक्चर बना रहे हो कि मेरा बुक पढ़ रहा है वो डम कैसे हो सकता है I mean, it's ridiculous, right? People can sue you for anything. It's
My
like,
God, I will. After this, I'm going to go and watch clips of Bowman and Rani in Main Hoon Na
I love
because.
how he mixes up the ranks because to me
Oh
that's
yeah, I was
the
about to
way to
say
be.
for you it's like a proper like a joke party only.
Yeah, because people used to keep asking me, so what is your father? And I would give them an answer. So is it better than this? And I was just reminded of Baman Irani whenever they did that. And
He is
it was
funny.
ridiculous. But also we've sort of stopped doing the whole Gulzar did Angur way back in the 80s. So
Mhm.
it was like that, right? When those jokes were happening, it was funny.
Yeah,
Today, if
yeah.
you try to repeat that, you get circus.
I also think there's some. I mean, this actually I made a point when Crew came. Crew I watched recently or whatever
Yeah.
stuff I watched recently. It's not, and this sort of also links to what we actually probably didn't speak as much about Hot Fuzz, but it's about not just about the joke. It's about the timing of how you execute the joke. There
And
are
as long as the
so
people
many
on screen
times.
don't think it's funny. The people
Yeah,
on
but I
screen
feel
have
in something like Crew, I actually think there are fairly good jokes littered around. Okay, sometimes, but the filmmaking is such that it takes away from them. Then I think is also, I think that's also an issue that's sort of impeding some of the comedy now. It's almost
no,
like
they- no, go ahead, go ahead.
milking is cinema viewing by. Yeah, or kya, Sanjeet? I went and saw it. No, I mean, yeah, but see, Chris, I don't know if maybe I found that particular instance funny, but there is this instance where basically where the police inspector, the customs officer essentially is checking if these guys are carrying gold in the form of chocolates
Yes,
because that's their whole thing that they've melted the gold into chocolate forms and like they're carrying them as a box of chocolates with them.
or
Okay. Anyways, no. That's not funny. I'm saying the idea is that she's eating them to check if it is gold or not, right? And they have put one box of chocolates which isn't gold, it's actual chocolate. Like it's so that's of course the dabba she picks up, and she's chomping on them, and it's like she can easily bite into them, and it's like okay, and then she gives them to her person behind her, uh, the attendant,
yeah,
and she chomps on it and she's like pista flavor hai. I'm like that's a interesting, in the scheme of the scene, a
yeah.
fairly good joke I feel, but like the score is pounding on you so much that as I think Chris Patrick is saying, it feels like that then. Like
Hmm.
it doesn't feel like they're naturally conveying that joke. It's almost
You know,
like
hmm.
killing you with that joke almost.
Yeah,
I'm just like,
मैं joke
hmm,
सुना रहा हूँ type. It's that kind of. It's
yes,
like a
yeah.
laughter track, right? The
Yeah,
thing
yeah, yeah,
about
it is that.
comedy that
But
it's like
sitcom
it
mein
has to
that
be
works
self.
because it's written in
That's
a
the
way which
format.
provides for that.
No,
Yeah.
and it's a play almost, right? It's a televised
Yes.
play in a way.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
the good comedy is where the characters believe they are in a drama, which is
Hmm.
why that scene at the end of you know, or even that thoda khao thoda pheko scene in Jaane Bhi Do Yaaro, when they're eating that cake, and they're like Switzerland
Yes.
में ऐसे ही cake खाया जाता है, thoda khao thoda. It's a stupid ass scene, but they do it
Yeah.
with such conviction and so straight face. And then at the end, where suddenly, when that whole Mahabharata is happening, and then one of the
Yeah.
Pandavas gets up, what's going on here? He's pissed off. And then ऊपर से somebody comes, शहनशाह अकबर पधार रहे हैं,
Yeah.
You try and write that scene today, there'll be riots in the country.
I mean,
You
that's the other.
can't,
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. I
you
mean, the
can't
other film I did find funny. Now that you're saying, I did find AK versus AK mildly funny, if that makes
very
sense.
funny, very funny.
Even especially Harshvardhan Kapoor stuff. That's probably
Harshvardhan
because it,
Kapoor, yeah,
yeah, because it sort of goes into a
it plays into
self-referential.
our understanding of him as an
Sure.
actor, as an
Yeah, yeah.
actor.
Yes.
So it was,
वो ही
but
है, वो think quotes डालने जरूरी है because
but
he's very bland
but
otherwise.
if you look at Rajesh Krishnan's previous film, Loot Case,
You said loot
what?
case, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think even Sanjeet enjoyed it a fair bit.
Mm-hmm.
That great scene where there's one auto wala who has seen this character go away with a red bag that everyone is looking for, and Ranveer Shore is like, sketch बनवाना पड़ेगा, and the auto wala is like, लेकिन मेरा drawing बहुत खराब है, and Ranveer Shore like, दूंगा तेरे को मैं, and then at every moment that Vijay Raj shows up, he's like, he'll give
Oh
you
my
some
God.
stupid animal example, and
Okay.
then when his two flunkies are like, what is Lumicus Taraticus or whatever,
Yeah, yeah.
तुम लोग कब Nat Geo subscribe करोगे? That is his whole shtick in the film. He wants
Buddy,
them
now
to
you
be Nat
but
Geo
you reminded
subscribers.
me. Vijay Raj has this track in this useless movie called Run, which is really funny with the
Kawwa Biryani.
kawwa biryani and like the different. Again, like
That
you
has a
know,
nice song
he's.
though. I remember the
याद
song
नहीं सर.
from Run.
मुझे अभिषेक बच्चन की पिक्चर ज्यादा याद नहीं रहती. So.
Abhishek Bachchan, Bhumika Chawla, that too, from Tere Naam.
Right.
And-
Anyways, I think we should move on.
Delhi
I mean, we are
Belly
done
is,
with
I
the.
think, a very good comedy. Delhi
I
Belly
think
is
it's
very good.
I am slightly less enamored by the really try hard crassness of it, but I also don't
that I
mind
agree
a lot
with.
of. But I'd like
No,
a
I
fair
like
bit of it
Rahul
also.
Singh, right? Who's like, I'm your pop, and he's sort of slapping Imran Khan around, the
Yes, yes.
woman's ex-husband, and then that scene where Vijay Raj is outside the room, and he
Vijay Raj
says
is
some
fantastic
meme,
in that.
tuck tuck tuck, he does, the goon does, tuck tuck
Yeah.
tuck, sir laundry.
Yes.
Vijay Raj just looks at him, laundry.
Laundry. And then
And
yes.
or the ye to tatti hai scene.
Ye to,
Where ye
yes,
to
yes.
tatti hai.
No, there's a lot of
And he
great things
looks at
about
him
that film.
and goes, thank you. I love that.
No, definitely. Like, there's a lot of great things. I mean, even something like Peoply Live, I think, is fairly,
I
you
know
know,
what's that.
it's good. देखा इसलिए आपको लापता लेडीज में ज्यादा कुछ मिला देखने के लिए. मैंने देखा हुआ है वो सब Peoply Live में. Anyways, okay, so I think this is all about all the sort of, questions that we were asked, and thank you so much for
आपका
asking
अप्रैल
them.
कैसा बीता?
वही मैं बोल इस मार्च मतलब अप्रैल का.
हाँ, सॉरी मार्च.
हाँ yes, so I was just अच्छा इसमें भी गर्मी. अच्छा ठीक है. No, my March was I mean my March was great in terms of watching and stuff general because stuff generally because we did record something on Michael Haneke, so I got to watch a lot of his films, which I'm not going to be mentioning here because you can listen to an episode that we have recorded and it's now on Spotify. But I'm just going to mention two things briefly. First one of them, I'll just write the name because I know this film is never going to be talked about anywhere now since the award season and everything is over. This is the Sean Price Williams Sweet East, The Sweet East. Sean Price Williams is the cinematographer for a fair few American directors. So he's worked with Abel Ferreira recently in doing some really experimental work. Actually, he's worked with Alex Ross Perry is his most regular collaborator, who's basically one of the New York artists essentially who makes films about New York people who are fairly insufferable sometimes. So
They can't be any
as in
worse
no
than
he.
Maybe.
No, but I think there's the Woody Allen / Noah Baumbach / Greta Gerwig styled
Martin
indie
Scorsese.
comedy. No, but they are indie comedies, na. It's like
Comedy.
it's basically Wes Anderson minus the aesthetic, which I like to call. So it's sort of like that, but they're good. Like they're fun when they can be. Anyways, this is his directorial debut, and it's not actually it's set in the East only, like the East US for that matter. But it's very much like a journey through the eastern territories of the states. And the point of view we take, or the point of view we are going along with, is that of Lillian, who's a high school senior from South Carolina.
Right.
And basically, I think the most appealing thing about the film is sort of its 70s vibe, which automatically disqualifies it for Varun. But as an appealing thing, I kid. No, but I think it's just it's shot in 16 millimeter, if I'm not wrong, like
Oh,
proper like film and everything. And it's, I think, one of the most interesting things, because we also had something like Zone of Interest last time. We talked about sort of blinkered existence about people in a film, right? Like
yeah.
people who sort of let everything go the way it is and sort of just are passive observers. This sort of takes that idea and sort of has more fun with it, if that's a correct way to put it,
Yeah, it's a
in the sense
girl sort of
that
skiving off stuff, right? And
yeah,
trying to do what.
she goes through a lot of people, and it's basically going through like extremes. So for the first meeting she has with, if you've seen Red Rocket, Simon Rex is one of the people who's this super. He's like a MAGA basically dude who's super into um
Sidney's
almost
inequality
grooming
travel.
her. He's almost grooming
Yeah,
her, but it's
yeah,
almost like she. So, but the interesting thing in that dynamic becomes that it's actually he thinks he's the one who's manipulating her, but she is the one who very subtly sort of plays the tables and manipulates him, and gains
right.
sort of very crucial knowledge, crucial in the sense that crucial to her when she'll use it later,
Yeah,
knowledge from him, but she's very adept at picking up on things that she needs to pick up on, but
right.
she's also very uh, smartly avoiding things that a liberal audience would generally object at with like
Oh,
a lot of things. So you get into this position where you get a protagonist who's sort of fine with everything in one sense.
yeah,
Like her face is that of blankness and indifference, and like the actress playing is, I think, Talia Ryder, who's fantastic in it. And I think you go from this end of the spectrum, then you go to New York filmmakers like a black person and
mm,
all and a queer student making a student film, and then she
yeah,
becomes like a cast member in that, and then that sort of and these sort of sometimes intersect, sometimes don't intersect, but the idea is to basically explore America in a way which is sort of playful, but it's also like really insidious in that
huh,
it's got a very sinister like tone running through it, but it's done in a way which sort of morphs over it. So it's very fascinating in terms of just watching it as a film which plays around with your emotions rather than sort of giving you a
right.
simple thing of look, the world is bad, or look, the world is like a fairy tale. It's sort of giving you a very mixed view of it, and it's sort of
Yeah,
not making any judgments of her, which I think is a very interesting, like the film is not shot in a way which actively judges her. It's sort of going along with it and going along with her and sort of seeing how to gauge this playground essentially of US that it's
yeah,
become. So I think that's what made it really fascinating to me, and it's sort of one of those films that that will stick around with me. And other TV show I'll just briefly mention because we are way over time is The
yeah.
Curse
Oh,
by
yeah. Heard
Nathan
of that.
Fielder, Benny Safdie, and the Zellner brothers, which is, I think, one of the uh, aesthetic achievements, if you want to call it, of television, especially in the way it's shot, especially in the way it's directed. Like there's I can't remember a film in which almost each thing you see is shot through a frame in the foreground, like
Yeah,
something obstructing almost another thing. But it's a cringe comedy about a couple who's basically trying to assert their progressiveness by making these environmentally friendly homes, which they are actually making by gentrifying the community in Los Palmos in New Mexico. So they're constantly caught up in this contradiction of wanting to be really nice, really artistically acknowledge people and being really, progressive and everything. But then they are also caught up in a past where the Emma Stone, who's magnificent in this, her family are slumlords of that place. And like you get like it's always
yeah,
caught up in this sort of contradiction, and then whatever comedy comes from is from their concentrated effort to try and make all situations as good as possible, but they are all seemingly coming from a place of self-serving nature and everything, and it's really uncomfortable. It's got a, let's just say, no one can guess what happens in the last episode, which is like there is no way you can. It's sort of going in that direction, and I don't know what to make of the last episode. To be honest, there are parts of it that I think are magnificent, parts of it which I think maybe overreach. But the rest of one episode to episode 9 is just one of the most effectively
And
uncomfortable
you're
comedies
not
I've watched.
you're not a show person mostly.
I'm not a show
You're
person,
far
but
more.
miniseries I do sort of like to watch because
I
it
think that then
ends.
you might actually enjoy Sugar even.
It's a miniseries,
Aesthetically,
okay,
it's a mini series. Yeah. I
okay,
think aesthetically and like there's stuff like Colin Farrell and Jim Cromwell having a conversation on screen is just incredible.
good. No, I am a big
So
Colin Farrell fan in any case, so yes, I will.
I mean, mainly
Anyways, but
handled
yeah,
because he's
that's
got a dog, so it's fun.
okay. No, but I would suggest that people who want to watch something slightly out of the box, I think these two films will definitely satiate that palate. Like, they're not at all your expected things you will get. You will definitely be getting a distinctive experience from them.
Right.
Like it or not, of course, but you will be getting a distinctive experience. And yes,
What was your worst and what was your best? You
I
have to tell us.
wholeheartedly apologize for this.
Partially for me also, but I think I've caught more of it recently in the last week. I
Yeah,
didn't
Chris Patrick,
mind
you can
most of
tell
it.
us about your favorites.
Favorite
Favorite,
and
I think
worst
it's
also.
favorite. I think is the sensible one, which is for everyone who's not
Jab
into
we
the
met.
pretentious side. Yeah, of
I mean,
Imtiaz Ali.
Tamasha is not pretentious really. It's like
I think it is pretentious.
I was
I think it's
editing
very
Jagayi
good.
material in my head when I was
I,
watching it. I
I
was like, drop about 40 minutes from this film and it works. Like it
no
can
no, but
fly.
Lark 2020 worst, but Rockstar gets a special mention.
Wow.
Best is
Rockstar is
Jab We
a
Met in Tamasha only.
contender for worst. That's interesting. That's very
Yeah, but I think, I mean, I don't know, but that's also because Chris Patrick is a Ye Dil Hai Mushkil fan. There's a great overlap between those two films. So,
I mean, Rockstar walks so Edine Mushkil could, do whatever.
no. Highway also made you very angry. So, Highway is going to be a
That's right.
contentious film to discuss in any case. I think I don't think it works for me also that way.
Highway, I'm more
Okay.
interested to look at because it's like Imtiaz also doing for the first time a digital movie and stuff like that, and it's very much on the fly, location light.
Chris, be less enthusiastic when Varun is around. We can talk about this in
No, I mean, I think that album is great. It's not one of Pritam's best, but it's certainly a fantastic album. Except for
आपको सर जो
that,
गाना मुझे अच्छा लगता है ओ अलीजे song is nice.
I can't stand that.
I can't stand Pulleya, so I guess we are on different
Please,
pages.
yeah.
Anyways,
कुछ भी
of course, this
आप
episode
सिवाय
went for
देखो.
much. Of course, this episode went for much longer than expected. But next,
Which Queen is Dead live stream does not.
nay, but I feel we had enough questions, like enough loaded questions, and enough sort of topics to talk about. So I think hopefully it was
अगर
productive.
अमरत्या
I
होता तो
thank.
we would be only on the third question right now.
Third question, yeah. Luckily, actually, we've had less people, and we've Imtiaz Ali के episode जाएंगे 3 घंटे. I've already prematurely
You have to
like,
edit. You have to
I'm not
edit.
editing. No, I'm not editing. I'm just releasing them. इम्तियाज करते हैं अपनी पिक्चरों को edit.
आरती बजाज करती है जो कर चुकी
आरती बजाज को मैं अपना पॉडकास्ट भी भेज देता हूँ.
भेज दो आई एम श्योर
Hopefully, Amartya is alive.
मास्टर तो भेज दिया होगा अभी तक
Hopefully.
चमकीला का
Hopefully.
Netflix intern should
But
deal with
yes,
that directly.
thank you everyone for listening.
Thank you so
Whoever
much.
has stuck around, and thank you Chris especially for contributing so
Yeah,
many
for
comments
participating.
continuously. The Imtiaz Ali episode shall drop on the day Amar Singh Chamkila releases, actually,
Yeah.
because we'll be talking about Amar Singh Chamkila on Monday's live stream. And if by chance that film is not good enough and Varun and Sanjeet do go and watch Maidan, we might be actually combining it with that.
Let's see.
But otherwise, the
All
plan
lies in
is
the weather.
Yes, but the plan is for basically this Thursday to next Thursday, essentially being the Imtiaz Ali
Imtiaz week.
weekend. Weekend, sorry, week. See, but yeah, like that is going to be something. So do look
Yeah,
forward to that.
we're hoping to like Chamkila.
Yeah, I am definitely hoping that it's moderately decent. That's
Yeah,
the expectation I have at this point in time. So, yes,
yeah,
let's hope it's good, and let's hope it's an improvement over LAC 2020, as we would like to call it. But yes, thank you so much. Thank you, Varun, for sticking for this much time
yeah,
with
yeah.
me also.
Of
And yeah,
course.
khatam,
Thank you,
khatam,
sir, for
khatam, khatam,
reading comments.
khatam. Yeah.